Our correspondent joining us this afternoon from Madhya Pradesh. We've got Ashutosh Mishra joining us from Lucknow. Good afternoon to both of you. Let me come to you, Ajit, first. Looking at the situation there in Madhya Pradesh, which are the districts that have been seriously affected, and how has been the rescue and relief operations in that particular state?
क्योंकि देखिए भारी बारिश के कारण जो मध्य प्रदेश का पश्चिमी इलाका है वो काफी ज्यादा प्रभावित हुआ है। और बात की जाए भिंड, मुरैना और ये जो ग्वालियर और श्योपुर के पास का इलाका है, वहां पर चंबल नदी के कारण काफी बाढ़ आई हुई है। वहां पर काफी जलभराव हो गया है, जिस कारण से वहां पर आर्मी की टीमों को तैनात किया गया है। रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन लगातार जारी है। इसके अलावा जो मध्य प्रदेश का जो दूसरा भाग है जो कि राजस्थान की सीमा से लगा हुआ है, अगर बात करें नीमच की, मंदसौर, रतलाम और झाबुआ, ये जो इलाके हैं यहाँ पर इंदिरा सागर और गांधी सागर बांध का जो पानी है वो लगातार वहां पर पहुंच रहा है, जिस कारण से वहां करीब 250 से ज्यादा जो गांव हैं उनमें जलभराव की स्थिति उत्पन्न हो गई है। पूरा गांव जो है वो टापू बन गए हैं और वहां पर जो रतलाम जो शहरों में पानी भर गया है और पूरी रोड है, जो सड़कें हैं उसके ऊपर वहां पर नाव चल रही है। तो इस तरीके से पूरा जो इलाका है पूरा बाढ़ से प्रभावित है और लगातार जो है बारिश का दौर जारी है। आज भी बारिश लगातार हो रही है पूरे मध्य प्रदेश में और मौसम विभाग का कहना है कि ये जो बारिश है सितंबर लास्ट तक लगातार जारी रहेगी। किसी भी तरह की कोई राहत मिलने की अभी कोई उम्मीद नहीं है। तो जिस तरीके से लगातार बाढ़ का प्रकोप जारी है, राहत कार्य भी लगातार चल रहे हैं। एनडीआरएफ और एसडीआरएफ के जवान लगातार मौके पर मौजूद है, वहां पर लोगों को।
Well, let's now go to Ashutosh, our correspondent there joining, Ashutosh Mishra joining us from Lucknow. Ashutosh, purely looking at Varanasi, purely looking at Prayagraj, how is the situation there on ground zero, especially the Ganga Aarti being shifted there from Varanasi? What's the situation and what's the Met Department saying for the next 24 hours?
बिल्कुल थॉमस, जिस तरीके से जाता हुआ मानसून जो है उत्तर प्रदेश में जो है अपनी बारिश से सराबोर कर रहा है, वहीं से बाढ़ से भी स्थिति जो है गंभीर बनी हुई है। प्रयागराज में 5 किलोमीटर के गंगा और यमुना के क्षेत्रों में आने वाले परिधि में स्कूल कॉलेजों को बंद कर दिया गया है। वहां पर एनडीआरएफ की टीमें तैनात की गई हैं। लगातार धौलपुर बांध से, राजस्थान के धौलपुर बांध से पानी छोड़े जाने के कारण लगातार जो बाढ़ की स्थिति बनी हुई है उससे निपटने के लिए प्रशासन ने सेना को भी बुला करके रखा है। और मैं थॉमस यहाँ पर बताऊं कि प्रयाग में और काशी में 2 सिग्निफिकेंस हैं जिनके आने के बाद जो है माना जाता है कि बाढ़ आई गंगा में। पहला प्रयागराज में है, जब लेटे हुए हनुमान जी को पूरी तरह से गंगा अपने आगोश में ले लेती है, और दूसरी जो है काशी में जब गंगा आरती होने वाली जगह शिफ्ट हो जाती है, दशाश्वमेध घाट पर ऊपर जाकर के सीढ़ियों पर आरती होने लगती है, तो यह माना जाता है कि गंगा में बाढ़ यह आई है। बाढ़ के कारण जो स्थिति बनी है उस पर प्रशासन की लगातार नजर बनी हुई है। कल मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ ने बलिया में जाकर के वहां पर बाढ़ के कारण उपजी हुई परिस्थितियों और उसके निराकरण के लिए प्रशासन को निर्देश दिए और साथ में यह भी आदेश दिया गया है जो भी परिस्थितियां हैं उसमें प्रशासन जो भी सहायता कर सकता है लगातार पीड़ितों को सहायता प्रदान की जाए और उसके साथ ही उनको राहत पहुंचाई जाए। और साथ ही लगातार जो है निगाह बनी हुई है। इस वक्त हम राजधानी में हैं, राजधानी में लगातार बारिश हो रही है। आशंका यह है मौसम विभाग की कि आने वाले 24 घंटों में लगातार यह बारिश जारी रहेगी। इन 24 घंटों में होने वाली बारिश और बांधों से छोड़े जाने वाले पानी के बाद क्या स्थितियां पैदा होती हैं, ये निश्चित रूप से चिंता का विषय है प्रशासन के लिए भी और आसपास रहने वाले लोगों के लिए भी। जी थॉमस।
Ashutosh, purely looking at the rescue and relief operation that's on, by the various agencies that are involved in the rescue and relief operations, give us a sense of, the basic requirements like, food, water, medicines. Are they easily available for the people that have been affected by this, by this monsoon that's pretty delayed into September?
बिल्कुल थॉमस, ये अप्रत्याशित नहीं था क्योंकि बांधों से पानी छोड़ा गया था और उसके बाद मानसून के वापसी के वक्त कितनी बारिश हो सकती है इसको लेकर के मौसम विभाग का अनुमान था। बाढ़ का पानी कितना चढ़ सकता है इसको लेकर के कहीं न कहीं प्रशासन को अनुमान था। इसको लेकर के प्रशासन ने जो तैयारी कर रखी थी वह तैयारी अब लोगों के काम आ रही है। खासतौर पर अगर हम प्रयागराज की बात करें तो वहां पर यमुना के किनारे 5 किलोमीटर के क्षेत्र में रहने वाले स्थानों को खाली करवा लिया गया है। उन्हें राहत शिविरों में ले जाया गया है। उनके खाने पीने की व्यवस्था, उनकी दवाइयों की व्यवस्था की गई है। स्कूल कॉलेजों को बंद कर दिया गया है और जो भी प्रभावी तरीके से राहत के उपाय हो सकते हैं उसके लिए फौरी तौर पर प्रशासन ने अपनी तैयारियां कर रखी हैं। एनडीआरएफ की टीमें लगी हुई हैं, यहाँ पर पीएससी की जल पुलिस भी लगी हुई है। इसके साथ में सेना को भी हाई अलर्ट पर रखा गया है कि अगर कोई ऐसी स्थिति आपदा आती है कि जब अधिक से अधिक लोगों को निकालना हो या उन्हें सहायता पहुंचानी हो तो उसमें प्रशासन जो है प्रभावी तरीके से अपनी मदद कर सके और भूमिका निभा सके। थॉमस
Ashutosh, purely looking at Prayagraj and the other districts that are affected, Prayagraj recently we celebrated the Mahakumbh there. So having said that, were the arrangements very much in place, considering the state government had done immensely along with support from center, were, the places very much, or since you said that, people knew about this particular heavy rains coming, was the state very much in ready action to tackle this kind of, a deluge?
देखिए थॉमस, अगर आप प्रयागराज कुंभ की बात कर रहे हैं तो प्रयागराज कुंभ का जो आयोजन होता है वो गंगा की पूरी तरह से रेती में, अगर हम कहें तो उसके पेट में ही सारा आयोजन होता है। और यह एक ऐसा आयोजन होता है जब गंगा अपने न्यूनतम स्तर पर होती है और उस न्यूनतम स्तर के बाद जो गंगा की खाली छोड़ी गई जमीन होती है उस पर कुंभ का आयोजन होता है। प्रशासन की अस्थायी सारी व्यवस्थाएं उसी स्थान पर होती हैं, लेकिन ज्यों ही वह व्यवस्था समाप्त होती है, सीजन बाढ़ का आता है या अधिक पानी गंगा में होता है, सारा का सारा इलाका जो दावा प्रशासन करता है कि मैंने 62 किलोमीटर में महाकुंभ के आयोजन स्थल को बसा करके रखा है, वह पूरा का पूरा 62 किलोमीटर की परिधि आपको जो है पूरी तरह से गंगा के पानी में सराबोर दिखाई देगी। यह एक ऐसी व्यवस्था है जो मौसम के साथ बदलती रहती है, चाहे महाकुंभ का आयोजन हो, चाहे कुंभ का आयोजन हो या माघ मेलों का आयोजन हो। उस वक्त गंगा के जो है बढ़ते और घटते स्वरूप पर निर्भर करता है कि किस महीने में गंगा, जब माघ महीने में अपने न्यूनतम स्तर पर होंगी तो वहां पर आयोजन इस तरह से आयोजित होगा। अभी जब ये बाढ़ का सीजन समाप्त होगा तो फिर से एक बार महाकुंभ के लिए जो है पूरी स्थितियां वैसी ही हो जाएंगी, उतनी ही खाली जगह होगी, उसमें चाहे जो आयोजन आयोजित किया जा सकता है। जो तैयारियां की गई थी निश्चित रूप से उसके जो है फलितार्थ भी दिखाई दे रहे हैं। जो सड़कें बनाई गई थी, जिस तरह से ड्रेनेज सिस्टम ठीक किया गया था, वही कारण है कि इतने अधिक बहाव के बाद जबकि यमुना अपने जलस्तर, अपने चेतावनी स्तर पर पहुंच चुकी है, गंगा चेतावनी स्तर से ऊपर जा रही हैं, बावजूद इसके जो है जो अधिकतर निचले इलाकों में लोग रह रहे थे अभी तक वही प्रभावित हुए हैं और उससे बाढ़ से आपदा जैसी कोई स्थिति अभी नहीं बनी है। केवल किनारे के लोगों को जो रहते हैं, निचले स्तर पर रहते हैं, उनको परेशानी का सामना जरूर करना पड़ रहा है। थॉमस,
Okay, we'll leave it there. You take good care of yourself. We'll come back to you with more updates on that particular story because that's going to be the story that we're going to track across the day. Thank you, Ajit Dwivedi, joining us from Bhopal. Also, thanks to Ashutosh, who joined us from Lucknow. Moving ahead now, Union Home Minister and BJP President Amit Shah launched the party's Johar Jan Ashirwad Yatra in Jamtara in Jharkhand today. Addressing the gathering on the occasion, he said that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India and revoking of Article 370 and 35A has furthered the integration of J&K into India. He slammed the Congress, saying that when we go for surgical strike, Rahul Gandhi opposes it. When we go for airstrike, he asks for evidence. He should clearly spell out and tell the people of the country his stand on these issues.
कश्मीर को भारत का अभिन्न अंग बनाया। मोदी जी ने अच्छा किया या बुरा किया? अभी कांग्रेस वालों को पेट में क्या दुखता है भाई? हम सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक करते हैं, राहुल गांधी विरोध करते हैं, एयर स्ट्राइक करते हैं, प्रमाण मांगते हैं। जवाहरलाल नेहरू यूनिवर्सिटी में भारत तेरे टुकड़े होंगे 2000 नारे लगते हैं, वो जाकर समर्थन में खड़े। अब तय करो, बता दो देश की जनता को कि आप किस दिशा में जाना चाहते हैं।
Moving ahead, Indian Army is going to the recruitment for youth of the Jammu and Kashmir into the Indian Army. A total of 2,780 vacancies has to be filled for various posts in J&K. Recruitment has been conducted in Jammu and Srinagar. The recruitment for the blood relations of ex-army men will be conducted on the 3rd and 4th of October at the Jakli Recruitment Center in Srinagar.
780 vacancies have been released for recruitment into Jaklai. ARO Jammu, ARO Srinagar and Jackline Regimental Center would be conducting rallies to select the recruits for these many vacancies. The UHQ quota rally at Jackline Regimental Center is scheduled next month on 3rd and 4th of October. The eligibility for the same is the blood relation of the serving soldiers and ex-servicemen. The applicants can report to Jackline Center 15 days prior of the cut-off rally for conduct of coaching by us.
General Officer Commanding in Chief, Northern Command, Lieutenant General Ranveer Singh witnessed an exercise by the integrated troops of all arms and services in the super high altitude area in eastern Ladakh today. The exercise encompassed employment of mechanized forces with force multipliers integrating high technology platforms. Complimenting the commanders and troops, Lieutenant General Ranveer Singh stated that he was fully confident that Northern Command will continue its legacy of excelling in combat should a conflict be forced upon the nation. Army Commander also called upon all ranks to remain vigilant and maintain a high order operational readiness. Army Chief General Bipin Rawat on Tuesday visited the headquarters Fire and Fury Corps and interacted with the chairman of the 15th Finance Commission, N.K. Singh, and other members. The Finance Commission team is in Ladakh sector as part of their visit to field formations of the Indian Army to understand the conditions under which troops are operating and assess the requirements of the financial outlays to meet the modernization and infrastructure development requirements of the Army. General Bipin Rawat highlighted the peculiar terrain, weather and altitude challenges of Ladakh sector, which requires specialized equipment and skills for performing operational tasks. He also appraised the Finance Commission that the focus on improving connectivity to the border areas in the recent years has greatly improved the efficiency of the troops deployed along the borders. Members of the Finance Commission assured the Indian Army of all support required to discharge their duties effectively. Air Marshal R.D. Mathur, AOC in C Eastern Air Command, and Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan, GOC in C Eastern Command, jointly inaugurated the resurfaced runway at Vijayanagar ALG on the 18th of September, thereby re-establishing the military transport aircraft connectivity at this easternmost hamlet of India. Repair of the runway at Vijayanagar, which was coordinated by the Air Force Station Jorhat, was a challenging task as there being no road connectivity, all the load had to be airlifted by helicopters. The movement of larger transport aircraft to and from this airfield will act as a catalyst for the development of the area and will help the movement of the locals. The airfield is important not only for the local administration in extending their reach to the residents of this remote area, but also crucial from a strategic point of view. The ALG will assist in effective management of our borders with Myanmar and also help the launch of joint operations by the Indian Army and Air Force for their defense of the Vijayanagar. The Air Commander and the AOC in C, while interacting with the locals and ex-servicemen at Vijayanagar, commended them for their unflinching dedication to the nation and expressed the hope that air connectivity with the rest of the country would open a world of opportunities for them. Well, to get more inputs on that particular story, Nandita Dagara, correspondent, joins us on the phone line on that particular story. Nandita, purely looking at this particular strip that's being opened, how many strips are there that are going to be opened, and the significance of this, considering that it's the border area with Myanmar and China?
Anil, there are about 6 advanced landing grounds in the northeastern part of the country, which includes strips like Mechuka, Pasighat, etc. And some of them have already been made operational, like Mechuka Advanced Landing Ground. In this series, this Vijayanagar Advanced Landing Ground has been resurfaced. Post World War II, landing grounds were or airstrips were built in World War II, and they are of very old vintage. Also, they had gone into disrepair because they were not used for a long period of time. So the government and especially the Air Force is taking an interest and has begun a campaign about 4 to 5 years back when all these landing grounds are going to be made operational. And in that sense, since it is bordering China and Myanmar, and Vijayanagar being a very remote and actually cut off from the rest of the country because it has no road connectivity, therefore it was very important that it be connected. And this landing strip which has been operationalized will not only boost the air patrolling of these borders, which is currently being patrolled on foot. They will also provide opportunities for the local people, will provide air connectivity, because right now people have to trek for several miles for days together to get to the nearest railhead or roadhead. And therefore this advanced landing ground, which itself has been made by transporting construction material via helicopters, it is very imperative that this region be connected, and it is one of the easternmost places of Arunachal Pradesh and a border region. Therefore, it is part of the series of advanced landing grounds which have been operationalized.
You know, purely looking at it from, this particular place, this particular landing ground that was, that was deactivated, or that was, under repair for a long time. Now that it's operational, what were the challenges that were involved, in getting this back on track? I believe it was almost 3 years that, repair works were on this particular landing strips.
Yes, Anil, any advanced landing ground is said to be fully operational only when the Air Force tests its aircrafts on it.
Agreed.
So from helicopters to the very big aircrafts like C-17, Hercules aircraft, all these aircrafts have to take off and land, and not just once but several times. And then only it is believed that the airstrip is safe enough and perfect for takeoff and landing operations. And therefore, this advanced landing ground, as you know, that laborers are the inadequacy of laborers.
True.
Because this area is ridden with monsoons more than half of the year, and therefore then there are environmental clearances which also have to be obtained, which were severe bottlenecks in this, and therefore this operationalization of advanced landing ground Vijayanagar is a significant milestone.
Well, a significant milestone for sure. Thank you and appreciate you joining us with those inputs there on that particular ALG ground that's been launched there at Vijayanagar. Moving ahead, Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh has given approval for initiating work of writing history of the country's borders. He held a meeting with the Indian Council of Historical Research, the Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, the Director General of Archives, Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of External Affairs and the Ministry of Defence on Tuesday. It is proposed that it will cover various aspects of borders, including tracking its making and unmaking and shifting of borders, the role of security forces, the role of borderland people encompassing their ethnicity, culture and socio-economic aspects. It is expected to be completed within the next 2 years. Well, time now in Midday Prime to take an update from the world of business and finance. Well, purely looking at, we've got Nancy on board. Nancy, welcome on board to Midday Prime. What do we have in business and especially the markets?
Yes, let's begin with the markets. Anil, and Sensex some time back had gained around 100 points. That's ahead of the briefing on the cabinet decisions. Well, that will take place shortly. And the Nifty was also above 10,850. Well, on the sectoral front, buying has been seen in auto, oil and gas, metal, pharma, energy and infrastructure, while the FMCG and IT indices are trading lower. And let's also talk about now the yellow metal. Well, the gold prices retreated from highs to slip below 38,000 rupees per 10 grams in the futures trade today. That's ahead of the outcome of the US Fed Reserve's two-day meeting where policymakers are expected to cut the interest rates in the morning. While also in the morning today, gold traded at the 37,918 rupees per 10 grams. That was down 98 rupees or 0.26%. While experts suggest that gold and silver prices are likely to remain volatile ahead of the outcome of the US Fed meeting, and the likely range could be 37,800 to 38,200 rupees. And that's the business news this afternoon. Anil, it's back to you for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Nancy, for those updates there from the world of finance. Well, now let's take a look at what's making news across the globe. Saudi Arabia has claimed that the oil supply is fully back online after weekend attacks halved output, and it will achieve that 11 million barrels per day capacity by the end of September and the 12 million barrels per day by the end of November. Minister Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman also said that the world's top oil exporter would keep full oil supplies to customers this month.
The last 2 days, the damage has been contained and more than half of the production capabilities that were damaged as a result of the attack have been recovered. The company will meet its commitments to its customers for this month by withdrawing from the reserves of crude oil and making some more changes to some oils with a view that complete production capabilities are restored to 11 million barrels per day by the end of September and to 12 million barrels per day by the end of November.
Further, Saudi Arabia said that it has joined a US-led coalition to secure the Mid-East waterways amid threats from Iran after an attack targeting its crucial oil industry. The kingdom's decision to enter the international maritime security construct came ahead of a planned visit by the US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Yemen's Iranian-backed Houthi rebels have claimed the attack, but the US and Saudi Arabia say they suspect Iran carried out the assault. US Vice President Mike Pence said that the United States was reviewing evidence that suggests Iran was behind the attacks on the Saudi oil facilities and stands ready to defend its interests and allies in the Middle East. President Donald Trump has warned that the United States was locked and loaded to respond to the attacks, but has emphasized he does not want a war. Iran has denied being behind Saturday's attack, which knocked out half of Saudi Arabia's oil production. The United States hopes that the UN Security Council takes up the attack on Saudi Arabia's oil infrastructure, for which Washington blames Iran.
Evaluating all the evidence. We're consulting with our allies, and the President will determine the best course of action in the days ahead. But I promise you,
a bipartisan group of 44 influential lawmakers has urged the Trump administration to reinstate India's designation as a beneficiary developing nation under the key GSP trade program as part of a potential trade deal between the two countries. In a letter to the US Trade Representative Robert Linkser, the House members suggest an early harvest approach that would ensure that the long-sought market access gains for US industries are not held up by negotiations over remaining issues. The GSP is the largest and oldest US trade preference program and is designed to promote economic development by allowing duty-free entry for thousands of products from designated beneficiary countries. The Trump administration terminated India's designation as a beneficiary developing nation under the generalized system of preferences in June. Moving on, since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iranian women have been banned from men's soccer matches at football stadiums in the country. But that has done nothing to dampen their determination to enjoy it on match days. Iran's young female soccer fans crammed Tehran's shopping centers and cafes with faces painted with the Iranian flag and beaming with excitement as they follow their national team on giant television screens alongside failed fans. Moving to elections in Israel, has the Benjamin Netanyahu era ended in Israel? If the exit poll results are to be believed, the country's longest-serving Prime Minister will fall short of securing a parliamentary majority and is set to suffer a setback in his quest for a record fifth term in office. If the exit polls do not go horribly wrong, then there are no clear-cut winners as well. The right-wing bloc led by Netanyahu is projected to win between 55 to 57 seats, but his main challenger, Benny Gantz, Blue and White Party, also does not have the possibility of reaching the magical figure of 61 in a 120-member Knesset. Israeli parliament making the possibility of a unity government the most likely one. The Central Elections Commission said that 69.4% of the eligible voters cast ballots in Israel's unprecedented repeat elections on Tuesday, a slightly larger number than those that took part in April's vote. Meanwhile, senior Palestinian official Saeb Ereka has said that he hopes the next government will focus on how to make peace. Well, what could these elections mean? You know, we've seen elections there taking place in Israel 6 months ago. In April, we are having a re-election that's taking place in Israel. Again, Benjamin Netanyahu this time around. It's a 120-member assembly, so you need the magical number of 61. Clearly, the exit polls not indicating any clear favorites for who's going to win the race or who's going to have the final laugh in that particular elections. But clearly, in a state of flux, purely the numbers that are out there or the post-poll numbers that are out there on Israel that have been telecast by the national TV channels, they're clearly indicating that we don't have a clear-cut winner. It seems to be heading for a hung assembly there, things not looking bright, at least from a post-poll surveys that have been carried out. There has been a slight increase in the percentage of voting that took place in Israel. And to get more inputs on the elections in Israel, I have my colleague Abhishek Jha joining us this afternoon. Abhishek, purely 6 months ago we saw elections, 6 months later another round of elections. Do you see the script changing this time around?
Not exactly, Anil. 6 months ago, Benjamin Netanyahu thought that on the wave of nationalism, he might, muster a better majority if the elections are, held right now. And that is how he dissolved the parliament in Israel. But this time around, again, he doesn't seem to getting anywhere closer to, overwhelming majority. The thing is very much tight there. Their opposition, the opposition party, those who have been opposing Netanyahu's reign, they are getting closer to the majority. So in all likelihood, there will be a coalition government only in Israel, because we know there is the multi-party parliamentary system in Israel, and not a single party, for decades, not a single party has been able to muster enough majority to have a ruling in Israeli parliamentary system. So there will be only a coalition government, but whether that coalition government will be led by Benjamin Netanyahu, that is a big question mark. And as of now, we have seen that the three exit polls that have been announced so far, they have all indicated that Benjamin Netanyahu's existing coalition is not nearing a majority, and in all likelihood there will be renegotiation among the winning political party leaders, and that might have Benjamin Netanyahu as the leaders. There are other possibilities as well, which may have other there is a highly chances of other leaders being unanimously elected as the coalition leader, or this could be the likely situation. And in all likelihood, there will be a presidential election. President who will be inviting one party that he seems fit to rule the Israel government in a stable way of mandate. And also, if that one party system or one leader doesn't prove to have the majority on the on the floor of the house, then another leader will be called to form government. And if that leader also failed to form a stable government, then Israel will head for a re-election in almost 3 to 4 months time. So that is the likely scenario as of now, but we'll have to wait for maybe later tonight when Israeli election will be announced, and we'll be able to know whether Benjamin Netanyahu will continue to rule the Israeli coalition government, or some new phase of Israeli government will come to be known.
Abhishek, one quick word before I let you go. Purely if you look at it in terms of, both the parties there in the fray looking, headed for, a dead end. In this particular situation, who could be a kingmaker there in that Israeli elections when the results are out?
Okay, so Zimmerman is the one person who people say that he's been close confidant of Benjamin Netanyahu in the past, but as of now, they are not in very good books to each other, and he's been opposing Benjamin Netanyahu. So there are chances that he could be one person who would be a deciding factor that who would be leading the Israeli government in the latest of the result that will be coming tonight.
Okay, we'll leave it there. It's very much similar to a script that we saw in Spain when it comes to elections there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us this afternoon with those updates there on the elections in Israel. Moving now to Spain, where Spain will hold a repeat parliamentary election on the 10th of November. The decision was taken by the acting Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez after he failed to secure enough support to be confirmed as Premier. Sanchez's Socialist Party got the most votes in the April 28th elections but failed to get a majority. He acted after the king, who is the head of the state, said there were no viable candidates to lead a new government. Political parties are blaming each other for putting the country on course of a repeat election. November election would be the country's 4th general election in the last 4 years. Well, after a look at all those international stories and elections in various parts of the world, it's time now to take a look at the sports or the world of sports and what's making news in the world of sports. Well, to get us the latest in the world of sport, Taposh joins us this afternoon. Taposh, what's the latest in sports?
Well, we'll start with the second T20 that's going to take place today, and Rishabh Pant's form would be an important subplot when India look to seize the advantage against South Africa in the second T20 International after a washout in Dharamshala, which effectively made the series a two-match affair.
After the first T20 International ended in a washout, India would be itching to get on to the field against a new-look South Africa for their first home fixture since March 2019. In an attempt to groom new talent before next year's ICC Men's T20 World Cup, India have persisted with Rahul, Deepak Chahar, Washington Sundar and Krunal Pandya for the series against South Africa. While Hardik Pandya has made a return after being rested for the West Indies tour, regulars such as Jasprit Bumrah, Bhuvneshwar Kumar and MS Dhoni are not part of the 15-man setup. Rishabh Pant will be India's wicketkeeper batsman once again, and as pointed out by his head coach and captain, will be expected to make better decisions at the crease. India's rest spin duo of Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal have been left out to strengthen the lower order batting. It is also an important series for Shreyas Iyer and Manish Pandey, who have been brought back into the side to solidify the middle order. The game will also be an opportunity for Shikhar Dhawan to play a substantial knock, having endured a lean tour of the West Indies by his standards. South Africa will hope to start their new era with a win against strong Indian unit with Quinton de Kock in charge. The Kagiso Rabada-led attack would have to bowl really well to contain the Indian batsmen, especially skipper Kohli, who played one of his best knocks against Australia in March 2016, the last T20 played in Mohali to take India to the World T20 semi-finals. With 20-odd games to go before the World Cup, Indian team wants to boost its batting, which will require number 8, 9 and 10 to score runs on a regular basis, something which has never been India's strength. Will a deep batting lineup compromise India's ability to take wickets in the middle overs? Only time will tell. Sports Desk, DD News.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had launched the Fit India movement on the occasion of the National Sports Day, urging people to make fitness a lifestyle. The movement has gathered support from across the section. Cricketer Parthiv Patel has hailed the initiative and explained the importance of exercising. He appealed to people to participate in the movement.
बहुत ही इम्पॉर्टेंट मुहिम है क्योंकि जब अगर आप इतने फिट रहेंगे तो आप सोच अच्छा सकते हैं। हमने बहुत जगहों पे देखा है कि अगर आप फिट प्लेयर भी हो तो आपका परफॉर्मेंस बहुत अच्छा होता है। आप फिट होंगे तभी आप अच्छा सोच सकते हैं। तो मैं खाली एज ए स्पोर्ट्समैन खाली आप लोगों को एक इतनी अनुरोध करूँगा कि अपने प्राइम मिनिस्टर श्री मोदी जी ने जो मुहिम चलाई है उसमें आप पार्ट लीजिए और आप अपने दिन का खाली 45 मिनट से 1 घंटा निकालिए और एक्सरसाइज करिए ताकि आप फिट रहे और आपके फैमिली भी फिट रहेगी और आप सबको अच्छा पोषण भी मिल सकता है।
Well, from cricket to its wrestling match, India star wrestler Vinesh Fogart qualified in the 53 kg for the 2020 Japan Olympics after beating fancied American Sarah Hildebrand in the World Championship on Wednesday. The 25-year-old scored an impressive 8-2 win over the World Championship silver medalist to secure her place at the Tokyo Games. Vinesh will wrestle in the bronze medal bout against Maria Pavlyukovi of Greece later on Wednesday. From wrestling to boxing, Commonwealth Games silver medalist Manish Kaushik in the 63 kg was a standout performer for the day as 3 Indian boxers entered the quarterfinals and are now 1 win away from the medal at the Men's World Boxing Championship in Russia. Using his pace and power perfectly, Manish landed some strong punches on his more accomplished opponent to secure a unanimous 5-0 win. The Rohtak pugilist Sanjeev made a memorable outing in his first ever appearance at the World Championship when he outpunched the second seed Sanjay Tursunov of Uzbekistan 4-1 to advance to the last 8 in the 91 kg category. And for the second edition, in a row, Asian Championship gold medalist Amit Pangal reached the quarterfinals of the World Championship. As the second seed, he was favourite against Turkey's Batuhan in the 52 kg category, and he lived up to the expectation when he soared to a comprehensive 5-0 victory. It set up a quarterfinal showdown with Carlo Palam of Philippines, whom he had defeated at the Asian Games last year. Meanwhile, Kavinder Visht, seeded 5th in the 57 kg category, was the last Indian to enter the ring. Enduring some stiff resistance from Finland's Arslan Khatev, Kavinder used his attack to pull off a tough 3-2 win on his way to the quarterfinals for the second consecutive time. Well, that's all from the Sports Prime. Back to you, Anil, for more news and updates.
Thank you, Taposh, for those updates from the world of sports. Well, moving ahead now, it's time for our next segment, Life Prime, where we bring you stories from the world of art, culture, cinema, fashion, science and innovation. Stories that are bringing smiles, stories that are changing lives. Moti Baag, a documentary film based on the struggle of a farmer in a remote Uttarakhand village, has been nominated for the Oscars. The film, based on the life of Vidyadat Sharma, a farmer living in Pauri, Garhwal region, also won the first prize at the International Short Film Festival in Kerala recently. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Trivendra Singh Rawat, in a tweet, congratulated the director Nirmal Chandar Dandrial and said the film will inspire youths to stay in their villages and work for their communities. He further said that the movie will also help stop migrations from remote areas. So, wonderful story there to close the bulletin. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of Midday Prime. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Take care.
Situated in the plain mountain ranges in Tamil Nadu, Kodaikanal presents a picturesque sight to behold. If this is nature's bounty here, man has gifted it a priceless heritage of science by establishing a solar observatory in Kodaikanal. This observatory was established on April 1, 1899. Equipments and manpower from then Madras Observatory were shifted here. The data collected about the various activities on the solar surface are the oldest one in India. The photographs taken from this observatory for the last 100 years are now being digitized so that the last 10 solar cycles can be studied. The flow of the gases on the solar surface, which is called Evershed effect, was first discovered in this observatory in January 1999 by John Evershed. This is a solar tunnel telescope which is fitted with a modern spectrograph at the Kodaikanal Observatory. This is fitted with two mirrors of 60 centimeter diameter and has been placed at a tower 11 meter high. These mirrors send the sunlight using another flat mirror into the 60 meter long underground horizontal tunnel where the image of the sun is projected. This observatory helps in investigating all the activities on the solar surface, including the solar flares.
Welcome to the dignitaries on the dais. At the outset, Honorable Minister for I&B will give you an overall sense of the cabinet decisions. Honorable Finance Minister will then brief you about the landmark decision taken on a health issue. After the briefing, we'll take some questions. Now, may I request the Honorable Minister for I&B to brief.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के अध्यक्षता में आज मंत्रिमंडल की बैठक संपन्न हुई और उसमें महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय लिए हैं। पहले रेलवे कर्मचारियों को खुशखबर है कि इस साल भी उनको 78 दिन का वेतन बोनस के रूप में मिलेगा। ये 11 लाख रेलवे एम्प्लॉइज को यानी उनके फैमिलीज को भी इसका फायदा होगा। इसके लिए 2024 करोड़ रुपए खर्चा होगा और बड़ी बात यह है कि लगातार 6 साल किसी सरकार ने लगातार 78 दिन का बोनस दिया है, हाईएस्ट व्हाट दे हैड गॉट वंस। वो 6 साल लगातार मोदी सरकार के कार्यकाल में ये रेलवे कर्मचारियों को मिला है। रेलवे सुचारू रूप से चल रही है और इस तरह के निर्णयों से कर्मचारियों का मोटिवेशन बढ़ता है और कर्मचारी पूरी ताकत से काम करते हैं और करेंगे, यह हमारा पूरा विश्वास है। और रेलवे के कर्मचारियों को इतना बड़ा बोनस देने का यही कारण भी है क्योंकि एक तरह से देश की लाइफलाइन है और इसलिए ये एक महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय कर्मचारियों के हित में आज किया है। टुडे कैबिनेट मेट as Prime Minister Narendra Modi in chair, and we have taken some very important decisions. For 11 lakh railway employees, this government has consistently last 6 years is giving a record bonus averaging 78, equivalent to the wage of 78 days. And this year also, 11 lakh 52,000 employees will get 78 days wages as bonus. This is their reward for productivity. It is productivity linked bonus. And for the first time, 6 years continuously in a row, employees are getting 78 days of wages as bonus. And this will have a budgetary impact of 2,024 crores, which today the cabinet sanctioned. Today we have also taken very important decision. Today Nirmala ji here, she is here but not as finance minister. She is today here to tell you very important decision about wealth, which will also save more money ultimately, but this is very important decision. This is about e-cigarette, and we have taken a major decision. She was part of the group of ministers. The health minister being in Brazil to attend the BRICS conference, so the Nirmala ji, who was also the group of ministers chairperson, so she is now, she will give you the details, because even for many of our cabinet colleagues was also, it's a new thing, how it is impacting adversely in society, a large section of society. So over to Nirmala ji.
Thank you, Prakash ji. As was very clearly mentioned by my senior colleague, I'm not here so much as the finance minister, but as a chair of the group of ministers which discussed e-cigarettes, vaping, and therefore the decision, which was a suggestion by the group of ministers, which went over to the cabinet today and got the formal approval, is what I'm going to have to talk about. So it is a cabinet decision that I'm putting forth before you. There'll be also a small video clipping which I'll show in the course of what I want to tell you. So what the cabinet has given approval today is first a decision to ban e-cigarettes, which is also otherwise technically called the ENDS, right? It is called the ENDS because it is electronic nicotine delivery system, ENDS, the formal technical name of e-cigarettes. Now, what does the ban mean? It means production, manufacturing, import, export, transport, or sale, or even distribution and storage and advertisement relating e-cigarettes are all banned. The cabinet therefore has taken this clear decision about banning e-cigarettes in all these 9 forms, and therefore this decision is taken keeping in mind the impact that e-cigarettes is having on the youth of today. The data that we have largely is of course derived from the US's experience, and in the United States of America, the latest the statistics that I have before me says there has been a 77.8% growth among school students who are in the 10th and 12th level, and surprisingly, even middle school students have become victim or are taking to e-cigarettes, and from among those middle school students, the increase or the growth in the e-cigarettes is about 48.5%. And many science-based journals have already said nearly 3 million people in the United States are regular users of e-cigarettes, and there has been in a matter of about 4 to 5 years between 2011 and 2015-16, there's been over 900% growth in e-cigarettes in the US. These figures relate to the US. But in India, there has been ground reports as to how the youth have taken it as probably, and I'm using it in a very loose fashion. I don't want people to think, oh, minister said this, but it is in some places getting convinced as it's like a style statement, so people don't mind trying it. But unfortunately, just to give you a backdrop, e-cigarettes got promoted initially as a way in which people can get out of the habit of smoking cigarettes. It was to be a weaning process from using cigarettes so that people can get out of the habit of cigarette smoking. If you do this, gradually you can come out. But reports say, reports say, not me, reports say that actually many people are no longer using it as a weaning step away from cigarette smoking. They do a bit of cigarette, they also do a bit of e-cigarette if they are already smokers of cigarettes. There are some who are probably getting into the habit because it seems cool. Because it seems cool, I just want to show you how simply and how easy these gadgets are, and as a result, it doesn't take much of an effort. You don't have to have a matchstick, you don't have to light it in that sense. If your e-cigarette equipments are so well charged like your mobile phone, you can just, this is all that you carry, and this is the little lead which you can use in your computers to charge. The cartridge that they use, can be used and thrown away. You can get a fresh cartridge and fill it in. So it's like a pen. So the cartridge can be filled in every now and then, or if you're traveling and you don't think you have the cartridges, you use it like a disposable ball pen. Use it and throw it away. You can have one more. So it's become very, very simple. There are several models available in the market, none of which are produced in India. None of which are produced in India, and as a result, this is also one, even very small, even very compact. It is believed that there are more than, ma'am, please do correct me, more than 400 brands, and even more important, none of which is manufactured yet in India, but even more important, they come in over 150 flavors, chocolate, strawberry, mint, and anything else. So it's become very cool to try it, to use it. It is odorless. As a result, somebody who smokes a cigarette, you'll probably smell even after he throws away the cigarette. But with e-cigarettes, you don't even get the odor. So, one important aspect is the smoke which is exhaled by these end delivery of nicotine, the smoke which is exhaled by the user of e-cigarette contains very high level of residual nicotine, which for people around standing as passive smokers who probably accidentally, collaterally, inhale that, will affect them badly too. So the impact of e-cigarettes, although it appears cool, has already caused a lot of concern in the US and many Western countries. So in the United States, till yesterday, there have been 7 deaths reported directly linked to e-cigarettes. Of course, many people, and the clip that I'm showing you also will say, the long-term impact of e-cigarettes is yet to be scientifically established, meaning the direct impact of e-cigarettes. In the USA, already 7 deaths have happened which are directly linked with e-cigarettes. So the cabinet rightly thought it's time that we immediately took a decision so that the health of our citizens, of our young, is not really thrown to a risk. So the cabinet has approved. The clip will show you the danger in 2 film little shots. But the course that the cabinet has advised us to take is to take an ordinance immediately, considering the seriousness of the impact of this e-cigarettes on the people, on the health of people. So there will be an ordinance subject to, of course, the Rashtrapati clearing it. So an ordinance will be passed, and we hope to take this matter in the next session of the Parliament. So can we have the...
Please play the clip.
You're awfully good with that.
Next one, please.
E-cigarettes, vape pens, Juuls. They're often marketed as safe alternatives to smoking, but their cool designs, fun flavors, and the fact that they're easy to hide means it's not only smokers who want them, it's kids. And for kids, they're definitely not safe. Teens should absolutely not use Juuls, e-cigarettes, or any similar products. Here's why. When kids use Juuls or other e-cigarettes, they're getting a big dose of nicotine. This disrupts their brain development. It changes the connections between brain cells, causing problems with learning, mood, and impulse control. It makes depression and anxiety worse.
And as any smoker can tell you, nicotine is highly addictive. That makes it very difficult to quit e-cigarettes. And vaping makes it much more likely that kids will smoke real cigarettes later. It's true that a few e-cigarette brands don't contain nicotine, but most of them do. And all of them contain other dangerous chemicals like these. Formaldehyde, which is found in glue and embalming fluid. Diacetyl, which causes lung disease. Benzene, that's a carcinogen linked to leukemia. Some tests have also found metal particles in the e-cigarette vapor. The devices themselves can also be unsafe. They can explode.
The long-term effects of using e-cigarettes are unknown.
And because there are no standards, we don't know the ingredients in these products.
We don't want children to take unnecessary risks with their health
And begin a lifelong addiction to nicotine. Talk to your kids about e-cigarettes and how to say no to these harmful products.
Thank you. That's about one decision of the cabinet.
We'll take a few questions now. Yeah, Lakshman, please start.
मैं लक्ष्मण CNBC आवाज़ से आपने रिपोर्ट का हवाला दिया कि सिगरेट में हेल्थ के जोखिम काफ़ी ज़्यादा होते हैं। यूएस गवर्नमेंट के तरफ से एक रिपोर्ट नेशनल एकेडमी ऑफ साइंस ने जारी की थी जिसने कहा था ई सिगरेट में हेल्थ रिस्क होता है लेकिन कन्वेंशनल सिगरेट के मुकाबले काफ़ी कम होता है। तो हम लोग कन्वेंशनल सिगरेट पे कोई एक्शन ना लें, सिर्फ ई सिगरेट पे ले, इसके पीछे क्या लॉजिक है?
You're saying anything? हाँ।
नहीं, इसका उत्तर तो 2 दिन के बाद आने पर और विस्तार से आप हर्षवर्धन जी से चर्चा करेंगे, लेकिन जो एक नया एडिक्शन तैयार हो रहा है उसको समय पर ही प्रिवेंट करना और सिगरेट का भी अभी जिस तरह से अवेयरनेस और कैंपेन बहुत इफेक्टिवली चल रहा है उसका भी एक परिणाम है। जैसे पब्लिक प्लेसेस में धीरे धीरे बंद होता गया तो वो आज अनेक क्षेत्र ऐसे हो गए कि जहां सिगरेट नहीं होता है और इसलिए ये बढ़ने से पहले ही रोकना ये उसका उद्देश्य है।
Ma'am, this is Mukesh Kaushik from Dainik Bhaskar. This is also a fact that large business of traditional cigarette makers was shifting towards e-cigarettes. Does this move would benefit domestic cigarette industry and how much they would be benefited by this?
Yes, I don't think it will benefit the tobacco industry at all. Let me just give you a little figures. Actually, if you say that, first is that we don't agree that ENDS is an alternative to cigarette or it's a harm reduction device, number one. Number two, as we have found under GATT's survey, there is a decline in tobacco smoking population. We've done a lot under COPTA. As you are all already aware, we have won international acclaim also. And there is actually 10% of the population only which is smoking cigarettes. So for that 10% population, you see here, Madam has explained in great elaboration and very effectively how actually the young population is being targeted for as customers for ENDS. In 1 year in US, 77% increase in young adults, young children who have taken to cigarettes. So this is what I would say.
Yes.
Hello.
This is Aditi
Just
Tandon.
one second, Aditi.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम प्रदीप है, टोटल न्यूज़ से। सर, मेरा सवाल ये है कि जो आज ये फैसला हुआ ई सिगरेट को लेकर, क्या इसको लेकर सरकार ने कोई स्टडी कराई है? कितना रेवेन्यू जनरेट कर रही थी और कितना रेवेन्यू इससे लॉस होगा इंडस्ट्री की अगर बात करें?
रेवेन्यू लॉस नहीं होगा, हमें रेवेन्यू गेन होगा। जैसे टोबैको है कोई भी हमारी there is a addiction that actually affects the productivity of our entire population. So we are not going to lose revenue, ma'am. If on your behalf, if I may be allowed to say, we will actually save. I don't have the figures right now. I do have them in my office. I can give it to you later. But there is estimated savings on account of what decision that we've taken today.
और एक आप समझ लीजिए कि हेल्थ बिगड़ने से जो खर्चा होता है वो बचता है, और इसलिए ऐसे हेल्थ एंड वेलनेस का एक मेजर ये करके आप इसको देखिए।
Yes, Aditi.
Ma'am, this is Aditi Tandon from the Tribune. I just had one query about the ordinance and its structure. What are the prescribed penalties if anybody is caught storing, manufacturing or distributing e-cigarettes and these 9 forms of ends? And does this ordinance mean that all the existing e-hookah bars will be illegal the moment the ordinance is promulgated?
So, just I want to say, first of all, the punishment proposed is imprisonment up to 1 year and or fine of 1 lakh for the first offence, and a 3-year and or fine of 5 lakh for the subsequent offence. It has been made a cognizable offence except storage, which is non-cognizable, and yes, e-hookahs are also included.
E-hookahs are also banned.
Yes, as a repeated offence, it is 3 years. 3 years or fine of 5 lakh rupees.
Or both.
Or both.
But just note, the first offence is being treated differently. Repeat offence is also treated completely differently. It's not a natural escalation.
जो पहला गुना होगा 1 साल की सजा या 1 लाख रुपए जुर्माना या दोनों, और अगर बार बार गुना कोई करता है, चाहे ट्रांसपोर्ट का हो, इंपोर्ट का हो, एक्सपोर्ट का हो, बाकी कुछ चीज करे, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हो, बेचना हो, तो उसमें ये दूसरी बार अगर करता है तो 3 लाख रुपए तक का 5 लाख रुपए तक का जुर्माना और 3 साल की कैद या दोनों ऐसा हो सकता है, ये इसका मतलब है।
Good afternoon. This is Arup Rai Chaudhary from Business Standard. This question is open to both the ministers. Are there any studies which conclusively prove that e-cigarettes are less or more harmful than conventional cigarettes? And if so, what is the biggest logic behind just banning e-cigarettes and not having any restrictions on conventional cigarettes? And number 2, ma'am, you spoke about production, manufacturing, sale, transport, advertisement. What about possession?
It will be appropriate for the Secretary Health to answer these questions because the ordinance is drafted by them. The entire proposals to the Cabinet also came from them. Yes, as a part of the Cabinet, I've come to brief, but permit me to allow the Secretary to.
So, first is you asked for evidence. There is emerging international evidence of the harmful effects of ends, and we have a very comprehensive paper from ICMR, which is our research body of health and family welfare ministry. They have actually recommended ban of ends through a white paper, and the decision has gone through the technical advisory committees, and I would also like to say that there have been several representations from reputed medical institutions like IMA, AIMS Jodhpur, Tata Memorial Hospital Mumbai, from Narayan Hridayalaya, from Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Hospital, from Association of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons. Everybody has recommended ban. Listen, I'm sorry. Why are we debating more harmful and less harmful? Even if, I mean, it is harmful, it's addictive. Our entire next generation will be going down the drain if we do not control it now. And I'm very proud that my country has taken this decision. I congratulate the will and, and the vision of our country. I think we are world leaders that way.
ऐसा है, मैं फिर समझा, एक मिनट, मैं एक फिर से समझाना चाहता हूं कि देखो, आज एक समय पर स्टेप उठाई है, ये मुख्य मुद्दा है, और दूसरा महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दा है कि ये दुनिया में क्या हो रहा है इसकी पृष्ठभूमि है, लेकिन भारत के रिसर्च संस्था ने स्टडी किया है, भारत के एम्स और टाटा और बाकी सब प्रमुख डॉक्टर्स ने और सभी ने इसकी सिफारिश की है, टेक्निकल कमिटी ने उसका पूरा ड्यू डिलिजेंस किया है, इसके बाद ही मंत्रिमंडल के सामने आया है, और वो भी जीओएम के पास गया था और वो करके फिर आज ये महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय लिया है. दिस इज अ वेलकम स्टेप कि समय पे रहते करते, नहीं तो एक बार डैमेज हो जाने की बात करने से बजाय preventive is always better.
In fact, sir, I request our media fraternity to please support us.
Please, let's one by one we'll take the questions. Okay, just
she will answer you separately also in a ministry, all technical details which you want. बट वी आर वेरी श्योर कि आप भी इसको सपोर्ट करेंगे कि समय पर सरकार जाकर कुछ काम कर रही है. जो हाँ, यह आपका सवाल हमने सुना है और अच्छा है. दिस इज कॉल्ड सजेशन फॉर एक्शन.
ओके, प्लीज. हाँ
मैम,
एक सेकेंड. हाँ प्लीज.
मैम, ई सिगरेट्स का प्रोडक्शन हमारे यहाँ होता है कि सब जो भी आता है सब इंपोर्ट होके आता है?
यहाँ नहीं होता है.
हमारे यहाँ पे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कोई नहीं होता है अभी तक. असेंबली तो करते हैं पर इंपोर्ट ही हो रहा है अभी तो.
और मैम, हम देखते हैं कि जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं, यंग स्टूडेंट्स हैं, वो हुक्का बार में जाते हैं, बोलते हैं कि वो नुकसान नहीं करता है.
वो जा क्यों रहे हैं फिर? एडिक्ट तो हो रहे हैं ना, एडिक्शन हो रही है. सर, ये बाकी टेक्निकल क्वेश्चन सर मैं आप रहा.
Is there a possibility, you foresee any oil shock for India because your basket usually is big, and do consumers fear a possibility of an increase in oil prices?
Sunil Prabhu, today's is cabinet briefing discussion, I understand, and that subject I think has been well handled by Dharmendra Pradhanji yesterday itself, and I'm sure he'll be able to give you an elaborate answer. He will say that. He will say that.
I think any technical, no more technical question. No. Please.
Prakashji, I'm asking this question because you have spoken about this issue in the past also, and I'm digressing from the cabinet decision. So this is regarding Jammu and Kashmir and Pakistan. We are getting a lot of cases of Hindus being... So just if he wants to reply, he can reply. No, it's up to him. A lot of cases and videos of Hindus being persecuted in Pakistan are now emerging. Has the government taken note of it? And secondly, sir, in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, yesterday we saw how leaders like Farooq Abdullah have now been put under PSA and the center is being questioned. If you would want to respond on both the questions.
First of all, जैसे निर्मलानी जी भी बताया कि आज हम कैबिनेट ब्रीफिंग कर रहे हैं, तो उसका एक ये डेकोरम है, लेकिन जैसे हमने पहले ही बताया और कल परसों कोर्ट के सामने भी बताया, वो आपके पास है सब, कि गवर्नमेंट एफिडेविट हैज कैटेगरिकली स्टेटेड कि 9 या 10 पुलिस स्टेशन में केवल 144 है, रिस्ट्रिक्शंस है, बाकी जगह फ्री मूवमेंट है और बाकी सब काम चल रहा है. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, फारूक अब्दुल्ला को परसों ये कानून के तहत गिरफ्तार किया है, या आपका कहना सही है? इसका मतलब पिछले 35 दिन वो गिरफ्तार नहीं थे।
ओके,
हेलो, हाँ सर, निर्भय फ्रॉम IANS। मेरा क्वेश्चन ये अगेंस्ट ई सिगरेट से रिलेटेड है। आपने कहा कि सिगरेट्स जो है वो पब्लिक प्लेसेस पे बैंड है। इन स्पाइट ऑफ दैट देयर इज हार्डली एनी एनफोर्समेंट। एज अगेंस्ट दैट ई सिगरेट्स आर एटलीस्ट विद इन द, आई मीन it's not in public places. So I think it's more important to ban conventional cigarettes than e-cigarettes.
मैंने कहा ना कि ये आपका सुझाव है, आप भी डी एडिक्शन के तरफ सब ये जा रहे हैं, ये पब्लिक मूवमेंट से भी बहुत काम होता है, जरूर करेंगे।
Okay, thank you very much. I think we should. Yes.
तो केंद्रीय मंत्रिमंडल की प्रधानमंत्री की अध्यक्षता में आज जो बैठक हुई उसमें जो महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय लिए गए उन्हीं का ब्यौरा दे रहे थे इस वक्त सूचना प्रसारण मंत्री प्रकाश जावड़ेकर और वित्त मंत्री निर्मला सीतारमण। दो बड़े फैसले जो मंत्रिमंडल के द्वारा लिए गए हैं, जिनमें से पहला फैसला जो रेलवे कर्मचारियों के लिए खुशखबरी लेकर आया है वो यही कि उन्हें इस बार भी 78 दिन का वेतन बोनस के रूप में दिया जाएगा। और दूसरा बड़ा फैसला जो लिया गया वो हमारे देश के युवाओं के स्वास्थ्य को देखते हुए लिया गया। ई सिगरेट्स पर अब प्रतिबंध लगा दिया गया है, जिसको लेकर एक ऑर्डिनेंस लेकर आ रही है सरकार। और इस अध्यादेश के आधार पर यह बताया गया है कि 9 ऐसी श्रेणियां हैं जिनके आधार पर ई सिगरेट्स का प्रतिबंध लागू किया जाएगा, जिसका मतलब यह है कि इनके उत्पादन के, इनके निर्माण को, इनके क्रय विक्रय को, इनके वितरण को, यहां तक कि इनके भंडारण को भी सजा के तहत रखा गया है, जिसमें बोला गया है कि अगर पहली बार आपको इस ई सिगरेट के प्रतिबंध का उल्लंघन करते हुए पाया गया तो उसमें आपको 1 लाख रुपए का जुर्माना हो सकता है और साथ ही 1 साल की सजा हो सकती है। लेकिन अगर दोबारा इस तरीके से ई सिगरेट के प्रतिबंध का कोई उल्लंघन करेगा तो उसको 3 साल की सजा और 5 लाख रुपए का जुर्माना हो सकता है। महत्वपूर्ण बात यह है कि कहा जा रहा है कि ये गैर जमानती होगा अगर भंडारण पाया जाता है। तो 5 श्रेणियां बनाई गई हैं जिनके तहत ई सिगरेट पर प्रतिबंध को मान्य माना जाएगा। और तमाम सवाल पूछे गए हैं, जिसके तहत यह भी सवाल उठकर खड़ा हुआ कि आखिर किस आधार पर यह प्रतिबंध लगाने की सरकार ने सोची है। तो उसको लेकर भी तमाम अध्ययन को सामने कोट किया गया है। बताया गया है कि अमेरिका में किस तरीके के अध्ययन और किस तरीके की सच्चाइयां, जमीनी सच्चाइयां सामने आ रही हैं जो ये दिखाती हैं कि ई सिगरेट का कितना बुरा प्रभाव पड़ रहा है हमारे देश के युवाओं पर। लेकिन साथ ही साथ ई सिगरेट के अलावा जो पैसिव स्मोकर्स होते हैं, यानी आसपास के लोग, क्योंकि जो ई सिगरेट का इस्तेमाल कर रहा है उसके आसपास जो लोग होते हैं वो उस धुएं को अपने अंदर लेते हैं, उससे उनके स्वास्थ्य पर असर पड़ रहा है। और अमेरिका में 7 लोगों की मौत हो गई है इस तरीके से। और इन तमाम उदाहरणों को देखते हुए, इन तमाम अध्ययनों के रिपोर्ट्स को देखते हुए ये माना गया है, हमारे यहां भी ICMR ने जो अध्ययन दिए हैं उसके तहत सुझाव दिया गया है उनके द्वारा भी कि प्रतिबंध लगाया जाना चाहिए। तो ये बात कही जा रही है सरकार के द्वारा कि अलग अलग रिपोर्ट्स का अध्ययन करने के बाद, जमीनी सच्चाइयों को, वास्तविकताओं को देखने के बाद तब जाकर यह निर्णय सरकार के द्वारा लिया गया है कि अपने देश के युवाओं के स्वास्थ्य को देखते हुए, क्योंकि ई सिगरेट की धीरे धीरे आदत बन जाती है और जैसे पारंपरिक तौर पर लोग सिगरेट पीते हैं और हम कहते हैं कि स्मोकिंग इज इंजूरियस टू हेल्थ, हमारी सेहत पर के लिए धूम्रपान बहुत खतरनाक है, उसी के तहत ई सिगरेट भी खतरनाक साबित हो रहा है और इसीलिए अब ई सिगरेट पर प्रतिबंध लगाया गया है। इसी के साथ इस बुलेटिन में फिलहाल इतना ही। नमस्कार।
Hello, I'm Rudranath Sanyal. Welcome to War and Peace, your go-to television program on security matters and geopolitics. Once again, we thank all our viewers who have kept in touch with us all these years. So viewers, on the world map, when you looked at some of the violence-infused contours, you must have conjured up images of many of the fast currents and cross currents of the current security environment. And you have obviously seen the rapid pace with which war clouds show up and the equally fast speed with which deterrence is built. So, isn't the modern security environment much about speed with which nation states act to safeguard either real or imaginary security interests? Yes, in fact, since ancient times, whether in the case of deft military maneuvers or quick diplomatic overtures, the quotient of sheer speed remains a constant determinant. So you have guessed it right. Our lead topic for you in this edition of War and Peace is military speed. Our guests today in this edition are Air Marshal Vinod Patni, former Vice Chief of Air Force, who was also Director General of the Center for Air Power Studies. He has joined us from Gurugram. And eminent scientist, Dr. Y.S. Rajan, who has co-authored several books with Dr. Abdul Kalam. He has joined us from Bengaluru. So, our lead topic for you in this edition of War and Peace, the quotient of speed in the modern security environment. When Tejas, India's indigenous state-of-the-art light combat aircraft, was first being developed, a design that would sustain high supersonic speeds was obviously factored in. But by the time this naval variant of Tejas was tested, it not only demonstrated supersonic speed, but also its elite club ability to arrest speed in double quick time at the time of landing. Speed and speed control is a key in the modern security environment. For instance, if a fighter jet moves too far ahead by way of faster speeds, it can miss its target. All ground forces specialize in speedy maneuvers to take on the flying bombers. Speed has constantly remained a determinant since ancient times, when fast-moving horses provided a vital cutting edge in tactical battle areas. In modern times, fighter jets acquire force multipliers with still faster missiles. Similar is the case with the Navy and the land forces. Management of speed in myriad fields impact modern battle zones. At deep sea, warships have to quickly analyze volumes of information that flow in at a phenomenal speed. So is the case with the defense manufacturing sectors that have to keep an efficient supply chain alive always, sooner than later, and perpetually. Let's begin with Air Marshal Vinod Patni, who has joined us from Gurugram. Air Marshal Patni, what, according to you, is the essence of speed in the modern security environment?
Speed is all-pervasive. It is the turning point in most decision-making as well as in the actual tactical battle area. Actually, the concept of speed was put across rather well by Colonel John Boyd of the United States Air Force when he came out with the OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, act. It became a catchy phrase, OODA loop. And then since then, it has been taken and used over and over again. Nowadays, they say it also has importance in the financial world and various other things. But if you take each one of these, observation, orientation, decision making, and the action, each one of them have got a speed quotient of their own. Whether it is the border area, whether it is well before that, speed is of the essence. You will recall that for many years, the armed forces used to discuss contingency planning. In fact, contingency planning became a byword of our planning system, and the reason was the same, which is that when it comes to the push, at that time, suppose we already had plans afoot for which training had been done, the business of getting into the system became that much faster, that much more effective, that much more efficient. Hence, speed is always at a problem, always at a quotient, and the faster you are, the better it is.
Marshal Patni, what has changed over the years in terms of speed?
The basic principles have not altered. All that has altered is the facilities that are available and how we utilize those facilities. Even earlier, without the use of UAVs, without the use of satellites, we still needed to observe, and observation will always remain a factor of importance. Once you observe, then you take a look as to what the system is and decide what should be the action. It is this decision making that has got to be much faster at all levels. And to make the decision making that much faster, we have what I mentioned earlier, contingency plans.
How would you like to qualify speed in strategic and tactical terms?
As I mentioned, in strategic terms or tactical terms, speed will always be of great import. In the strategic terms, for example, there are 101 different and more, 101 different situations that could arise. How do we prepare for each one of these? It's rather difficult. And computerization can help to a certain extent, but we must know as to how to use data processing to advantage.
Now let's go over to Dr. Y.S. Rajan, who has joined us from Bangalore. Dr. Y.S. Rajan, how do you think this quotient of speed has evolved over hundreds of years?
I will even go to lakhs of years. See, this question of geopolitics, war, peace, defense, all these things existed when we were tribes also. When we were tribes also, one tribe will be there, another tribe will be there. They look for, they move for food, they move for security. Some places they have got a difficult wild animals, so they have to take care of that. That there may have some other very hostile tribals, sometimes friendly tribals. All this they were also moving, but that will be in a period of few decades. Evolved over centuries, it comes. Even there, that those who do centuries old slow practice get beaten up by those who are 100 years. Say Genghis Khan came in horses when the fellows were coming on in other elephants and things like that. He had a very beautiful technology, that polo business. They will go fast and then use that and then tuck, they will take it out, the tents they were taking out. So I am giving one example. So there the speed comes. When the ships started going, British got a power, geopolitical power they got. Plane, it was much, much faster. The telegraphy, which was there, it was a great force multiplier for the British to rule over. Morse code, etc., etc. Now, I will fast forward. In 1945, another one, devastating thing came, that is a nuclear one, but the nuclear one will be dead if it cannot be released fast. Missiles came. Then as far as the other thing is what the enemy is doing, etc., you need to go fast. You can't be sending only spies and then we see all the James Bond movies and all. It is not enough. It is backed up by a lot of surveillance data, which used to be once in a while type of thing. We were also involved. At my time when it was there, we were involved, but it was a little data. Now people can see into 0.1. India is also has those capabilities, but it has to come in a lot of data. So the ordinary computers are not enough. But all that you can't dump it on an operational one. You have to take out what is important, put it there. And then those who are in the operations, they should be able to move. And then when they move, their position, andaj idhar hai to nahi chalega. They have to know precise location, GPS. So the rate at which everybody is using is a large amount of data.
And what of information and the speed of bandwidth, in fact?
Speed megabytes. In those days, kilobytes was okay. When the Apollo moon landed, a small handheld computers type of thing was doing, but no longer. Now, defense forces will require 100 megabyte data at the operational level. Overall, it will become terabytes. Terabytes. That is what it is, and then to handle them, therefore, you need some elements of it, artificial intelligence. Everything cannot be robotized, but some of it, routine, it will see it. Ye to hai, theek hai, then it builds on it. So these are necessary. Also, not enough of information. Decision making also has to be equally fast. You can't say itna data aa gaya, I am sitting and then I am thinking. You have to take fast. That means you have to have models of geopolitics, you have to have models of the current situation, and then be able to take those decisions.
Dr. Rajan, you have worked closely with both Vikram Sarabhai and Dr. Abdul Kalam. What is the essence of speed according to you?
See, I also worked with Professor Dhawan and Brahm Prakash along with Vikram Sarabhai. So they are another very great people. So actually, in the current environment, if you see, the great institutions that were built, Vikram Sarabhai, Dhawan, Brahm Prakash, then Kalam, Govarikar, there are some people who was taken by Vikram Sarabhai, continued with Professor Dhawan for 12 long years to stabilize. What it shows is India can master the most complex technologies and do it on a commercial scale, not just as a one or two, commercial production scale required, and be globally competitive in terms of technology performance, even though there were times where some critical technologies were denied to India, we were not deterred by it.
What is that special value of speed in all this?
See, speed is something ISRO has done far better than most organizations. Sarabhai, he has laid down in 67 itself. He said that in those days, 67 to 70 period, some very brilliant speeches, because it is related to speed. That's why I am telling it. He says that we have come to accept the public sector projects, units, in those days it was that way, units completing things in 7 to 8 years, many R&D projects 8 to 10 years. This is not on. This cannot the way to do. He said some most factories, especially let's say course electronics, in those days type of thing, should come up and going in 2 years, and similarly research and development projects should be in 3 to 4 years. So basically he has said, if we don't do that, we cannot swim in the ocean of the fast accelerating change. Even in 67 he said.
Earlier, we had discussed some other areas too that had done well in terms of speed.
I would say India's greatest achievement in speed comes from C. Subramaniam, whom we often forget, the Green Revolution. In fact, one should read the times of records. The whole parliament, everybody was against. But still he said it has to go, he and Shivaraman. Later, they took the help of M.S. Swaminathan to make the scientists, others also. But there were some scientists whom he had, Venkatachalam, etc. So they got it, he got it through, did it. Again, the same C. Subramaniam got the best of the steel technologies. This Green Revolution in 2 to 3 years, it made a country self-sufficient and it spread. Then the same way Rourkela was the best technology which was just coming, was set up. It was the world's best steel. Then similarly a couple of things are there in the private sector. There are, as you said, that magnetite, there are some items similarly. So while I laud some of the things which are being done, we need to make the whole supply chain completely, I am not making completely self-sufficient, but India should be strong. That was the desire of Sarabhai, Dhawan, Brahm Prakash, Govarikar, Muthu Nayagam, Kalam, many others. Kalam endeavored for it. he managed to get that into the defense system. Again, I would say it was not the fastest in which he would have liked it or the forces would have liked it. There were so many other factors which come, which I will not be able to explain in detail in a small one. What happens is, as Sarabhai has beautifully explained, the whole governmental system has been made no mistake done. In fact, Dr. Kalam often used to say something, if nothing is done, no mistake will be done. So that is an attitude many people start taking. So if you want to unleash their energies and intellect and everything, we have to make sure that those who do the developmental task doesn't work on no mistake, no mistake, no mistake. Then the speed will go up.
What would you like to say about the value of the quotient of speed in the armed forces of India, Dr. Y.S. Rajan?
Our forces, Navy, Army, Air Force, etc., at operation level, at the general level, top level, planning level, to the operation at the working level, they are able to make use of whatever best they have. The same thing with Air Force.
You mean they are able to make use of military hardware with great speed?
Great speed even with equipment which are not having that capability of speed. That's what I am telling. Especially in the fast moving things, in geopolitics, in geocommerce, these things, etc. You want to export, a deal comes, you should be able to clinch it. Instead, you go through some 26 approvals, you are finished. Then you don't get your promised export subsidy in time. Then if it were a government organization, they have to come back, sir, this is the thing which is there. By the time you say, sir, things have gone. So these are the type of systems also we need to keep if we want to do. So that is what the new era is.
Air Marshal Vinod Patne, Dr. Y.S. Rajan says speed of bandwidth is an important factor in the security environment. What would you like to add as a military strategist?
Always. You can see the difference in the bandwidth that was utilized between, say, the first Gulf War and the second. More and more people today want a higher and higher bandwidth because it facilitates the movement of images, the business of getting your images from one part of the country to the other, and so many other of these issues. Bandwidth will always be important. With bandwidth, we get into the arena of higher and higher frequencies. And the higher the frequencies, the footprint area becomes that much lower. So we have to have different systems in place. There is nothing known as an unsullied advantage. There will always, with every advantage, there is some little disadvantage that comes up. And strategy demands that we play with these little limitations and don't let it override the great importance of improvements in technology that we are now seeing.
You're watching War and Peace, your go-to program on security matters and geopolitics. We will take a break now, after which Dr. Y.S. Rajan in Bangalore and Air Marshal Vinod Patne in Gurugram will give us more insights into the quotient of speed in the modern security environment.
Informative, incisive, intensive. Get your daily dose of news and analysis in English News Night every weekday at 9 p.m. on DD India. Channel number 620 on Tata Sky, 199 on Dish TV, 150 on Airtel, 28 on UCN and 395 on Videocon D2H.
Welcome back. You're watching War and Peace, your go-to program on security and geopolitics. Our guests today are eminent scientist Dr. Y.S. Rajan, who has joined us from Bangalore, and well-known military strategist Air Marshal Vinod Patne, who has joined us from Gurugram. Now, Air Marshal Vinod Patne in Gurugram, what for you are some of the enduring images in terms of military speed in living memory?
I can say this, that over here today, for example, particularly talking about the Air Force, in case from a peacetime situation, we have to go into ops. Our planning has been done in such a way that we can go and hit the target in a matter of very, very few hours, 3 hours, 2.5 hours, that sort of figure. Now, how have we managed this speed? By planning for it, by practicing for it, by recognizing the importance and our ability to do so. There have been many, many cases like this, where we were suddenly asked to go and take action immediately. We could do so. Let's take speed as another factor. There are occasions when you are out going on for a particular designated target, but suddenly there has been a change or a requirement issue which suggests that you should now be attacking something else. You need that speed, which includes the speed of mind, the resilience in your mind to be able to transfer your attention from one target to another.
Earlier, you had spoken about the importance of getting into the decision circle of the adversary with speed. Is it still that relevant?
You know, the concept of the OODA loop, as I mentioned right in the beginning, the concept was this, that we must operate within the OODA loop of the adversary. In other words, our system of observe, orient, decide, act must be much faster than that of the adversary. That is true. I am now suggesting that this concept of speed is in each one of these 4 separate entities, and each one of them has got to be very much faster to make the entire substance much faster.
And Dr. Y.S. Rajan in Bangalore, do you think speed is the end all and be all of security environment, or do you think sheer speed can at times be counterproductive too?
Not always speed, speed, speed. Sometimes you have to brake also. Okay, now you are a tactical someplace, maybe a withdrawal. It is not just always in the front. These are all strategies which the human mind will do. So in aerodynamics language, they always call lift and drag. If an aircraft has to go up and then be very fast, lift has to be more. Drag pulls it down. If both of them don't balance, if the drag is more, it will be unnecessarily going slow. It can't maneuver. If lift is high, more than what is required for the drag, it will be unstable. And sometimes, I should also say with respect to technology, it's not necessary, a new model has come, change it. You don't have to.
Air Marshal Vinod Patni, sometimes do you think speed is not enough? For instance, the obsolescent MiG-21 Biz fighter jet is still faster than most of the modern fighter jets in the world.
Just because an aircraft can fly that much faster doesn't mean it will always score over somebody who may be a little slower. No, no. That concept of speed has got to be married with technological capability, and that is what I've been saying all the line. MiG-21 Biz, very fine aircraft. It can deal with all aircraft in its class, but can it match modern day aeroplanes? A little difficult, even though the pilot in the cockpit will always be, and his capability will always be at a premium.
Do you think sometimes lack of speed or inertia is useful too?
No. What you are trying to suggest is that will it confuse the adversary because we haven't taken any action and he is wondering why? That he should have planned in his own, part of his contingency planning. I don't think so. I think over here, if we do not take action, that action should also be a predetermined system. In other words, under these circumstances, till such a time, we will stay put. I understand that. But staying put by itself as an advantage, I do not understand.
What would you like to say about the speed with which military hardware has to be acquired, Air Marshal?
There is only one answer to this, and that answer is indigenization. If we make things ourselves, then there will be lesser hurdles, and that is something which we must push with the greatest possible effort and the greatest possible emphasis.
What would be your final word on the quotient of speed in the very current security environment, Air Marshal Patni?
The whole system is based on speed. If you take a look at this OODA loop, as I said, it's become fashionable to use it today, But the more you go into it in a deeper sense, you realize that it is a very wise system. Now we have given it a title. We have been following this militarily forever. Every business follows this forever. But now we have given it a title, and because we have given it a title, it becomes easier to discuss it.
And Dr. Y.S. Rajan in Bangalore, how would you like to look at the future?
I hope that India will learn to do things within 2 years. A factory, R&D project 2 to 3 years, as Sarabhai has told. We need to grow fast. I hope that it will happen in future, given the push, and then given people like you asking people to do fast, but correctly. I hope that will happen.
And Air Marshal Patney, how would you like to look at the future?
Always rosy. Always rosy. Optimism is a great thing. Certainly not pessimism. If we are realistic and practical, good. But we should not be ever pessimistic. Optimism is the name of the game.
So, optimism is the name of the game. Well, once again, on an optimistic note, we come to the end of this edition of War and Peace, your go-to program on security. If you wish to write to us, you can send an email to warandpeace2004@hotmail.com. You can also send your letters to War and Peace, Room 513, Tower B, Doordarshan Bhavan, Copernicus Marg, New Delhi 110001. So, thank you, Dr. Y.S. Rajan in Bangalore. Thank you, Air Marshal Vinod Patney in Gurugram.
Thank you.
And thank you all. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the Door of Fortune, a game show like no other. Our host, Pranav Chandra, welcomes Siddhant Sharma, our guest of the day. Now here's how the show works. Siddhant is faced with 3 closed doors. Behind one of these doors is a grand prize, a motorbike. Behind the other 2 are goats, which are not much of a prize. But Siddhant has no way of knowing which item lies behind which door. Whichever door he picks, he gets that prize. Siddhant is clearly hoping that he picks the bike, not the goat. Okay, here goes. He has picked one door, but he hasn't opened it yet. Now our game show host, who knows what is behind all the doors, will open a door which has a goat behind it. Now offers our contestant a choice. He tells him that he can choose to stick to his initial choice or he can swap. Now, does that make a difference? Should our contestant stick to his goats or swap? Welcome to a new episode of the Maths Factor, which is all about the wonderful world of luck, chance, or in mathematical terms, probability. So, what is probability? Well, here's a clue. What is the common factor in weather forecasts, sports, auto insurance rates, lotteries, casinos, and this problem? Quite right, probability. We're going to explore a gamut of ways in which probability populates our lives. But before we plunge into that journey, Let's see how Siddhant is doing on the door of fortune. Siddhant is clearly in the haunts of a dilemma. Should he switch or stick to his first choice? Or do you think that it makes no difference? Once the host has revealed a door with a goat behind it, our contestant is left with two doors, one with a bike and one with a goat behind them. What should he do now? The answer is he should swap, as this in every situation will give him a greater chance of winning.
You have to make a choice. Think about it. Take your time.
Wondering why? Well, what Siddhant is facing is a classical mathematical dilemma known as the Monty Hall problem. But before we get to that, let's delve into the story of probability. Probability is a mathematical idea that populates a large part of our life. Let's see a few ways in which it is integrated in our day-to-day life. From figuring out whether it'll rain tomorrow, to calculating the health risks of smoking a packet of cigarettes, to deciding on the best investments for your money, to figuring out the odds, who will win a cricket match, to setting insurance rates, probabilities play a part in many aspects of our everyday life. Let's look at the most basic example. Here we have two teams of kids who are stepping out to play a game of cricket. The two captains step up to toss a coin to determine who bats first. One captain calls heads. Now what is his chance of winning? Well, that's what probability is. The likelihood or relative frequency of something happening. In this case, almost intuitively, we would say the chance of head falling is 50-50, which is absolutely right. And this captain, who had the odds in his favor, leads his team in to play the game. Now let's move to a game of Ludo. It's my turn. I need a 6 to get out of home and start my game. What is the probability that I'll get a 6? In a perfect die, all outcomes are likely. So the probability of getting a 6 is 1 by 6, which is the number of favorable outcomes by the total number of all possible outcomes. Now let's see how probability can help Bharti plan a picnic. Bharti is busy packing goodies for an al fresco picnic lunch with some friends, but is worried about rain. The weather report says that the chance of rain is 70%. Now what does that mean? Bharti is not sure whether it will or won't rain even with this information. It may help you understand where that 70% came from. Meteorologists predict weather based upon patterns. If our meteorologist has data for 100 days with similar weather conditions, and on 70 of these days it rained, a favorable outcome, the probability of rain on the next similar day is 70 by 100 or 70%. However, there is a chance it may not rain, which is 30%. The sum of the various probabilities must equal 1 or 100%, so if there is a 70% chance it will rain, there is a 30% chance it won't, which is what Bharti is banking on. In totality, it means that Bharti needs to warn her guests to bring rain gear for a picnic. As Bharti heads out, we're going to take a short break. But join us after as we explore the fascinating history of probability in this episode of The Maths Factor. Now, concepts of probability have been around for thousands of years. No one knows where or when the notion of chance first arose. In many cultures like ancient China, India and Egypt, elements of probability were applied to estimate the census of population or the overall strength of an enemy army. Astrogally also shows how the idea of chance was prevalent eons ago. Wondering what they are? Well, they are the heel bones of sheep and other vertebrates. Now, in archaeological digs throughout the ancient world, there has been a curious overabundance of astrogally. Why? Well, if we look a little closer at our astrogally, we notice that these odd-shaped bones have 6 sides that are not symmetrical. These were used as dice by priests as a way of divining the mood of their gods. Now, each combination was associated with a specific god and carried some advice. An outcome of 13344, for instance, was said to be the throw of the savior Zeus and was taken as a sign of encouragement. A 44466, on the other hand, was the throw of the child-eating Kronos, would send everyone scurrying for cover. Ancient texts too talk about games of chance. For example, a game of dice played a key role in precipitating the Mahabharata war. In this famous scene, Yudhishthir, the Pandav prince, agreed to play a game of dice against the Kauravas, who have their wicked and cunning uncle Shakuni on their side. Through this game, Yudhishthir lost round after round, his kingdom, his brothers, and even his wife. Now, if we calculate the odds of Yudhishthir losing all the bids he made, it would have been pretty low. How the Kauravas won was because Shakuni used a pair of dice made from his own father's bones, which were magical, or using more prosaic terminology, loaded. What emerges is that the epic clearly has a notion of a fair game, hence some notion of unbiased dice and consequently probability. If we look at other cultures, in France, dice games are known to have been popular during the Middle Ages. Which brings us to an interesting story that led to the formal development of probability. The year was 1654. Our story starts off with a French nobleman with the name of Antoine Gambord, Chevalier de Mere, who was fond of gambling. He used to play a game where he would bet on a roll of a die that at least 1 6 would appear during a total of 4 rolls. He used to win a fair amount of money with this. A bit bored with this game, he then attempted a variation. He bet that he would get a total of 12 or a double 6 on 24 rolls of 2 dice. But somehow he didn't make as much money in this variation. De Chevalier was puzzled by this apparent contradiction. Now he was a friend of Blaise Pascal, the famous French mathematician, physicist, inventor and writer. So he wrote him a letter asking why this new approach was not as profitable. Now this question sparked the birth of probability theory as we know it today. The problem proposed by Chevalier de Mere is said to be the start of famous correspondence between Pascal and Pierre de Fermat. They continue to exchange their thoughts on mathematical principles and problems through a series of letters, and historians think that this exchange was the first documented evidence of the fundamental principles of the theory of probability. Some of the problems they discussed in this correspondence were: how many throws of 2 dice are required for a number of double 6 appear events that will be more than half of a total throws? How to share the wagered money between 2 gamblers if the game interrupted untimely? The method Pascal and Fermat developed is now called the classical approach to computing probabilities. This is what they worked out. Supposing a game has n equally likely outcomes, of which m outcomes correspond to winning, then the probability of winning is m by n. Using this, Pascal worked out the probability associated with Chevalier's problem. The probability of winning using the new approach was only 49.1% compared to 51.8% using the old approach. Here's an amusing extract from one of the letters of Pascal to Fermat. I have not time to send you the demonstration of a difficulty which greatly astonished Monsieur de Mere, for he has a very good mind, but he is not a geometer. This is, as you know, a great effect. Let's leave Pascal bemoaning this lack of knowledge as we take a break. We'll be back to explore coincidences and birthdays and their connect with mathematics on this episode of The Maths Factor. In our journey through probability, I want to share a story by the famous horror writer Edgar Allan Poe. It is from his book, The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym. It centers on 4 survivors of a shipwreck who were in an open boat for many days before they decided to kill and eat the cabin boy, whose name was Richard Parker. Some years later, in 1884, the yawl Mignonette foundered with only 4 survivors, who were also in an open boat for many days. Eventually, the 3 senior members of the crew killed and ate the cabin boy. The name of the cabin boy was Richard Parker. Bizarre, right? This may be an extreme example, but our lives are peppered with simple coincidences.
सुहाना सफर और ये मौसम हंसी हमें डर है हम रह
I'm sure you've experienced something along these lines. You're walking along singing a song, and the same song suddenly comes on the radio. You're thinking of an old friend that you've lost touch with, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, you get a call from her. Now, we like the idea of believing that these events are special, that they have a deep meaning and significance in our lives. What we may not or do not want to acknowledge is that coincidences, even remarkable ones, are not at all that surprising. Let me tell you about one fascinating paradox to help us understand how probability works. For that, we need to head into a party. In the course of a conversation, you figure out that 2 people share the same birthday. Wow, how unusual, you think. Now, why do you think that is unusual? That's because the probability of 2 people sharing a birthday is 1 by 365, which is 0.27%. Very low probability, right? Now here's the paradox, which is aptly titled the birthday paradox. It says that in a room of 23 people, the chance that there are 2 people who share the same birthday is 50%. In a room of 75, that chance of overlapping birthdays increases to 99.9%. Wow, how is that possible? Now, the chance of any pair sharing a birthday is 1 by 365. This implies that the chance of any pair not sharing a birthday is 1 minus 1 by 365, which is 364 by 365. That is 99.73%. So it's very likely that any pair will not share a birthday. Let's see how many comparisons we'll make across the room. For that, we need to look at our room of 23 people in a little more detail. When we compare our birthday with 22 other people in a room, we get 22 comparisons. But in this case, we need to take into account all the people in the room comparing with the others. So the next person will have 21 comparisons to make, since I have already compared my birthday with her. The third person has 20 comparisons, the fourth has 19, and so on. If you add up all possible comparisons, which is 22 plus 21 plus 20 plus 19 plus up to 1, the sum is 253 comparisons or combinations. Consequently, each group of 23 people involves 253 comparisons or 253 chances for matching birthdays. The chance of one pair not sharing a birthday is 364 by 365. The chance then of all 253 pairs not sharing a birthday is 364 by 365 to the power of 253. That is 49.95%. So the chance of a group of 23 people having one shared birthday is 1 minus 49.95% or 50.05%. So it's not really coincidence, it's just probability. Try it at the next party and you can figure if it works. And it makes for a good conversational gambit at least. Now, having journeyed through all these stories and ideas about probability, let's head back to where we started, to Siddhant and his dilemma. Let me refresh your memory. At the start of our episode, our contestant Siddhant was asked to choose one of the three doors. Behind one is a bike, behind the others are goats. He picks a door. The game show host, who knows what lies behind all doors, opens another, which has a goat behind it. Our contestant is then given the option of swapping. The question, should he or shouldn't he? The answer is he should, every time. Now let's figure out why by exploring both the options. Let's explore the different options when he chooses not to swap. One possibility, he chooses a bike in the first go. The host then reveals one goat. He doesn't swap, he wins a bike. Supposing he chooses one of the goats, let's call it X. Host will need to reveal the remaining goats, let's call it Y. If he doesn't swap, he stays with the goat. If he chooses the second goat, Y, our host will need to reveal X this time around. If he doesn't swap, he stays with the goat. Now let's see what happens when he does swap in all three options. He picks the bike first, the host reveals a goat, he swaps and ends up with a goat. He picks goat X first, the host reveals goat Y, he swaps and wins a bike. He picks goat Y first, the host reveals goat X, he swaps and wins a bike again. Let's look at all the choices in one go. If he picks a bike and swaps, he gets a goat. If he doesn't swap, he wins the bike. If he picks goat X and swaps, he wins the bike. If he doesn't swap, he lands up with a goat. If he picks goat Y and swaps, he wins the bike. If he doesn't swap, he lands up with a goat. So if he swaps, he wins 2 times out of 3. If he doesn't swap, he wins 1 time out of 3. So he should always swap to improve his chances of winning. You can use probability to run your life in every aspect. Did you know that the probability of being struck by lightning is less than that of winning an Academy Award? The probability of being canonized is less than the probability of winning an Olympic medal. The probability of being injured by fireworks is much lower than an injury from shaving. So whether we know it or not, we spend large portions of our lives making decisions based on probability. We don't have time for much more, but keep watching the Maths Factor for other fascinating ways in which maths propels our lives.
वैष्णवजन तो तेने कहिए जे पीढ़ी पराई जानी रे वैष्णवजन तो तेने कहिए जे पीढ़ी पराई जानी रे हरि दुखे उपकार करे तो ये मने अभिमानी नानी रे वैष्णवजन तो तेने कहिए जे पीढ़ी पराई जानी रे सकल लोकी मां सहुने वंदे निंदना करे के नीरे वाचे काच मन निश्चल रखे धनी धनी जननी तेनी रे वैष्णवजन तो तेने कहिए जे पीढ़ी पराई जानी रे समदृष्टिने तृष्णा त्यागे परस्त्री जेने माती रे जीवात के असत्य न बोले हर धन न बजाले हाथी रे वैष्णवजन तो तेने कहिए जे पीढ़ी पराई जानी रे मुही माया व्यापी नहीं जेने धृति वैरागी जिना मनु मारे रामे रामे सोने ताली लागी सकल तिरति तेना तनु मारे वैष्णवजन तो तेने कहिए जे पीढ़ी पराई जानी रे बना लो बीने कपट रहित छे काम क्रोध निवार्य रे बनी नरसयो तेणो दर्शन करता कोलो एको तेरे तार्य रे वैष्णवजन तो तेने कहिए जे पीढ़ी पराई जानी रे वैष्णवजन तो तेने कहिए जे पीढ़ी पराई जानी रे परि दुखे उपकारी करे तो ये मने अभिमानी नानी रे वैष्णवजन तो तेने कहिए जे पीढ़ी पराई जानी रे
Traditionally in India, various rituals have been followed by the people to propitiate the deities and to bring peace and harmony. One such practice to ward off evil spirits is the drawing of colourful patterns called rangoli on the floor at the entrance of a house. Since times unknown, they have been a common feature in various festivities across the country. Legend has it that long ago the son of a renowned king died. Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, requested the king to make a painting of the boy so that he could bring him back to life again. This is how the first rangoli was made, using ground rice and pulses. This is just one of the many folk tales about the origin of the traditional art, and there are many more.
கல்ச்சர்னே சொல்லலாம். இது ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டண்டா அந்த காலத்துல இருந்தே இருக்குது. அந்த காலத்து பெண்கள்லாம் வந்து அரிசி மாவுல கோலம் போட்டாங்க. ஏன்னா அதுல ஒரு தீம் வச்சு தான் போட்டுருப்பாங்க. அதாவது எறும்புகள் இந்த மாதிரி சின்ன பிராணிகளுக்குலாம் ஒரு சாப்பாடு தரணும்ன்ற ஒரு நல்ல எண்ணத்துல அவங்க எல்லாம் இப்ப கோலம் போட்டாங்க.
The name Rangoli is derived from the words rang, meaning colors, and avali, meaning row of colors. In the art, which needs lots of patience and creativity, the common patterns are circular, linear, and floral. Circular patterns indicate the endlessness of time. The art is hugely popular all across the country and is known by different names in different regions of India. It is called Alpana in Bengal, Aripana in Bihar, Madana in Rajasthan, Rangoli in Gujarat, Karnataka and Maharashtra, Chowk Purana in Uttar Pradesh, and Kolam in the southern Indian states of Kerala and Tamil Nadu.
கலர்களை சிகப்பு மஞ்சள் வெள்ளை பச்சை போன்ற பல வண்ணங்களை தீட்டி அது அந்த கோலத்தில் நாங்கள் மயில் கோலம் பூக்கோலம் அப்புறம் ரங்கோலி கோலம் மயில் கோலம் போன்ற வகைகள் கோலங்களை வீட்டில் முன்னாடி நாங்கள் மகிழ்வோம். இந்த தைப்பூசத்தை வந்து நாங்கள் நன்றாக மிகவும் சிறப்பாக கொண்டாடுகின்றோம். இந்த தைப்பூசத்தை வந்து நாங்கள் மிக கோலங்கள் விட்டு அந்த மகிழ்ச்சியை வந்து மிக நன்றாக கொண்டாடி வருகின்றோம்.
With the time, the canvas for Rangoli too has changed. Today, Rangoli art
Ahead of festive season, Modi government's big bonanza for railway employees, Union Cabinet announces 78-day productivity-linked bonus to over 11 lakh railway employees. Cabinet also approves ban on production, manufacturing, import, export, transport, sale, distribution, storage and advertising related to e-cigarettes. In a big development in the Ayodhya case, Supreme Court asks all parties in the matter to try to complete argument by 18th October, says parties can still go for mediation if they want to. Bharatiya Janata Party President Amit Shah launches party's Johar Jan Ashirwad Yatra in Ranchi. In a bid to boost employment generation for the youth of Jammu and Kashmir, Indian Army to conduct recruitment for 2,780 vacancies in Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry Regiment. In international news, Israel's acting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows to build a new ruling coalition, says the next Israeli government could not depend on Arab parties. And in sports, India to take on South Africa in second T20 International at Mohali today. First match of the three-match T20 series in Dharamshala was washed out due to incessant rains. Vinesh Fogart becomes first Indian wrestler to qualify to 2020 Tokyo Olympics in women's 53 kg category. Vinesh to fight for bronze in World Wrestling Championship later this evening. Hello and welcome to this edition of the news. I'm Rukma in our top story. Ahead of the festive season, the Modi government has unveiled a big bonanza for railway employees. Addressing media, Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar said that the Union Cabinet has announced 78-day productivity-linked bonus to over 11 lakh railway employees.
For 11 lakh railway employees, this government has consistently last 6 years is giving record bonus, averaging 78, equivalent to the wage of 78 days. And this year also, 11,52,000 employees will get 78 days wages as bonus. This is the reward for productivity. It is productivity linked bonus. And for the first time, 6 years continuously in a row, employees are getting 78 days of wages as bonus.
The Union Cabinet today also approved promulgation of the prohibition of electronic cigarettes production, manufacture, import, export, transport, sale, distribution, storage and advertisement Ordinance 2019.
A decision to ban e-cigarettes, which is also otherwise technically called the ENDS, right? It is called the ENDS because it is electronic nicotine delivery system, ENDS, the formal technical name of e-cigarettes. Now, what does the ban mean? It means production, manufacturing, import, export, transport or sale or even distribution and storage and advertisement relating e-cigarettes are all banned.
Prakash Javadekar said that heavy penalty will be imposed for violating the ban on e-cigarettes.
जो पहला गुनाह होगा 1 साल की सजा या 1 लाख रुपए जुर्माना या दोनों, और अगर बार बार गुनाह कोई करता है, चाहे ट्रांसपोर्ट का हो, इंपोर्ट का हो, एक्सपोर्ट का हो, बाकी कुछ चीज़ करे, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हो, बेचना हो, तो उसमें ये दूसरी बार अगर करता है तो 3 लाख रुपए तक का 5 लाख रुपए तक का जुर्माना और 3 साल की कैद या दोनों ऐसा हो सकता है.
In the Ram Janambhoomi Babri Masjid land dispute case, the Supreme Court has asked all stakeholders to submit their estimate of tentative dates to finish their arguments. The court expressed the hope that if all parties adhere to their deadlines, the hearing in the matter will be completed by October 18th. The Supreme Court also said that if parties to the Ram Janambhoomi Babri Masjid land dispute case want to amicably resolve the matter through mediation, they can still go ahead with it. A 5-judge constitution bench headed by Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi said it has received a letter from former Supreme Court Judge Kalifullah, who was heading the 3-member mediation panel, saying some parties have written to him for resumption of the mediation process. The bench said the day-to-day proceedings in the land dispute case have reached an advanced stage and will continue. The court, however, said the mediation process under the chairmanship of Justice Kalifullah can still continue and proceedings before it will remain confidential. And moving on to some weather news now, in Madhya Pradesh, over 1900 people have been shifted to safer places in Bhind district as the Chambal is in spate following heavy rains. The river is overflowing due to heavy rainfall in Mandsaur and release of water from the Kota barrage. Floods have affected 44 villages on its banks in Bhind district. Over the last 2 days, rescue teams shifted more than 1900 people from various districts in the state. Over 900 people are staying in relief camps set up by the district administration, while others are putting up at their relatives' homes. Due to incessant rains and release of water from various dams, flood risk has increased again in many districts of the state. Army has taken over relief and rescue operations in flood-hit Bhind, Morena and Shiopur districts of the state. 7 army rescue teams are working day and night to rescue people trapped in the floods. Necessary facilities like food, water and medicine are also being provided by the army to those rescued from the floods. In neighboring Uttar Pradesh, low-lying areas close to major rivers in the state are facing fury of flood. The situation emerged after heavy rains in the catchment areas and water release into rivers from various dams and barrages. Almost all major rivers in the state are in spate and flowing above or close to the danger mark. In Varanasi, almost all major ghats are inundated in water and the venue of the famous Ganga Aarti has been shifted. 17 people have lost their lives in the state in the last 24 hours in lightning and other rain-related accidents. The Met Department has predicted heavy rainfall in central and eastern parts of the state in the next 24 hours. Earlier, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath visited flood-affected areas in Balia district and instructed officials to provide every possible assistance to flood victims. Low-lying areas of Prayagraj are facing a situation of heavy water logging due to overflowing of the Ganges and Yamuna that are flowing above the danger level. People have been evacuated to relief camps. And a heavy rainstorm that hit Bihar yesterday, the state's capital Patna, has been facing a situation of flash floods and heavy water logging on roads. Meanwhile, the Met Department has said that there is no sign of the retreat of the southwest monsoon. Normally, the monsoon starts withdrawing the first week of September. However, this has been delayed by more than 2 weeks this year. This year, the onset of the southwest monsoon was also delayed by a week. It hit Kerala on 8th of June instead of its scheduled date of 1st of June. And Union Home Minister and BJP Chief Amit Shah launched the party's Johar Jan Ashirwad Yatra in Jamtara in Jharkhand today. Addressing the gathering on the occasion, he said that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India. An abrogation of special status under Article 370 and 35A has furthered the integration of J&K into India. He slammed the Congress, saying that when we go for surgical strike, Rahul Gandhi opposes it. When we go for airstrike, he asks for evidence. He should clearly spell out and tell the people of the country his stand on these issues.
मोदी जी ने धारा 370 हटाई, धारा 35 से हटाई, कश्मीर को भारत का अभिन्न अंग बनाया। मोदी जी ने अच्छा किया या बुरा किया? अभी कांग्रेस वालों को पेट में क्या दुखता है? हम सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक करते हैं, राहुल गांधी विरोध करते हैं, एयर स्ट्राइक करते हैं, प्रमाण मांगते हैं। जवाहरलाल नेहरू यूनिवर्सिटी में भारत तेरे टुकड़े होंगे 2000 नारे लगते हैं, वो जाकर समर्थन में खड़े। अब तय करो, बता दो देश की जनता को कि आप किस दिशा में जाना चाहते हैं।
And a Bhoiwada court in Mumbai today ordered an investigation against Rahul Gandhi for his comments on Savarkar. In 2016, Savarkar's grandnephew Ranjit Savarkar had filed a case against Rahul Gandhi in this regard. General Officer Commanding-in-Chief Northern Command Lieutenant General Ranbir Singh witnessed an exercise by integrated troops of all arms and services in super high altitude area in eastern Ladakh today. The exercise encompassed employment of mechanized forces with force multipliers integrating high technology platforms. Complementing the commanders and troops, Lieutenant General Ranbir Singh stated that he was fully confident that Northern Command will continue its legacy of excelling in combat should a conflict be forced upon the nation. Army Commander also called upon all ranks to remain vigilant and maintain high order operational readiness. And the Indian Army is to conduct recruitment for youth of J&K into the Army. Total 2,780 vacancies have been filled for various posts in the state. Recruitment has been conducted in Jammu and Srinagar. The recruitments for blood relations of ex-army men will be conducted on 3rd and 4th October at Jakli Recruitment Center in Srinagar.
(2780) vacancy have been released for recruitment into JACLI. ARO Jammu, ARO Srinagar and JACLI Regional Center would be conducting rallies to select the recruits for these many vacancies. The UHQ quota rally at JACLI Regional Center is scheduled next month on 3rd and 4th of October. The eligibility for the same is the blood relation of the serving soldiers and ex-servicemen. The applicants can report to Jacklai Center 15 days prior of the cut-off rally for conduct of coaching by us.
Army Chief General Bipin Rawat on Tuesday visited the headquarters Fire and Fury Corps and interacted with Chairman of the 15th Finance Commission N.K. Singh and other members. The Finance Commission team is in Ladakh sector as part of efforts to field formations of the Indian Army to understand the conditions under which troops are operating and assess the requirement of financial outlays to meet the modernization and infrastructure development requirements of the Army. General Bipin Rawat highlighted the peculiar terrain, weather and altitude challenges of Ladakh sector which require specialized equipment and skills for performing operational tasks. He also apprised the Finance Commission that the focus on improving connectivity to the border areas in recent years had greatly improved the efficacy of troops deployed along the borders. Members of the Finance Commission assured the Indian Army of all support required to discharge their duties effectively. Air Marshal R.D. Mathur, AOC in C, Eastern Air Command, and Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan, GOC in C, Eastern Command, jointly inaugurated the resurfaced runway at Vijayanagar ALG on 18 September 2019, thereby re-establishing military transport aircraft connectivity at this easternmost hamlet of India. Repair of the runway at Vijayanagar, which was coordinated by Air Force Station Jorhat, was a challenging task because there being no road connectivity, all the load had to be airlifted by helicopters. The movement of larger transport aircraft to and from this airfield will act as a catalyst for the development of the area and facilitate movement of locals. The airfield is important not only for local administration in extending their reach to residents of this remote area, but also crucial from a strategic point of view. The ALG will assist in effective management of our borders with Myanmar and facilitate launch of joint operations by Indian Army and Air Force for the defense of the Vijayanagar salient. The Army commander and the AOC in C, while interacting with the locals and ex-servicemen at Vijayanagar, commended them for their unflinching dedication to the nation and expressed the hope that air connectivity with the rest of the country would open a world of opportunities for them. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh has given approval for initiating work of writing the history of the country's borders. He held a meeting with the Indian Council of Historical Research, Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, Directorate General of Archives, MHA, MEA and Ministry of Defence yesterday. It is proposed that it will cover various aspects of borders, including tracing its making and unmaking and shifting of borders, role of security forces, role of borderland people encompassing their ethnicity, culture and socio-economic aspects. It is expected to be complete within 2 years. Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana CEO Dr. Indu Bhushan expressed satisfaction over the progress being made under the scheme. He said that the reach of the scheme is being widened, with 32 states out of 36 states and union territories having joined in. He added that people are getting treatment for all specialities, with the highest demand being for non-communicable diseases.
The initial uptake has been good, and we have established a good momentum, and more than 45 lakh treatments have been done, and so that is a good start. And a lot of people have gone through transformative treatment which has changed their lives for better, and so that actually is quite gratifying, and we'll continue to deepen the scheme further and ensure that the vision and dream of Honorable Prime Minister is fulfilled.
And students from Uttarakhand today met Vice President Venkaiah Naidu in New Delhi. The Vice President welcomed the students at his residence and wished them the best for the future. He inspired them to earn laurels for the country. And a massive fire broke out at UCO Bank branch in Bangalore today. Several people are feared trapped inside the building still. Smoke was seen billowing out of the building situated next to Barton Center while people were running out of it. Rescue operations are underway. And gold prices retreated from highs to slip below 38,000 rupees per 10 gram in futures trade today ahead of the outcome of US Federal Reserve's two-day meeting where policymakers are expected to cut interest rates. In the morning, today, gold traded at 37,918 rupees per 10 grams, down rupees 98 or 0.26%. Experts suggest that gold and silver prices are likely to remain volatile ahead of the outcome of the US Fed meeting, and the likely range could be 37,800 to 38,200 rupees. A bipartisan group of 44 influential lawmakers has urged the Trump administration to reinstate India's designation as a beneficiary developing nation under the key GSP trade program as part of a potential trade deal between the two countries. In a letter to U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer, the House members suggest an early harvest approach that will ensure that long-sought market access gains for U.S. industries are not held up by negotiations over remaining issues. The GSP is the largest and oldest U.S. trade preference program and is designed to promote economic development by allowing duty-free entry for thousands of products from designated beneficiary countries. The Trump administration terminated India's designation as a beneficiary developing nation under the generalized system of preferences in June. And Saudi Arabia has claimed that the oil supply is fully back online after weekend attacks halved output and will achieve 11 million barrels per day capacity by the end of September and 12 million barrels per day by the end of November. Minister Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman also said that the world's top oil exporter would keep full oil supplies to customers this month.
The last 2 days, the damage has been contained and more than half of the production capabilities that were damaged as a result of the attack have been recovered. The company will meet its commitments to its customers for this month by withdrawing from the reserves of crude oil and making some more changes to some oils with a view that complete production capabilities are restored to 11 million barrels per day by the end of September and to 12 million barrels per day by the end of November.
Further, Saudi Arabia has said that it has joined a US-led coalition to secure the Middle East waterways amid threats from Iran after an attack targeting its crucial oil industry. The kingdom's decision to enter the International Maritime Security Construct came ahead of a planned visit by US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Yemen's Iranian-backed Houthi rebels have claimed the attack, but the US and Saudi Arabia say they suspect Iran carried out the assault. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence says that the United States were reviewing evidence that suggests Iran was behind the attacks on Saudi oil facilities and stands ready to defend its interests and allies in the Middle East. President Donald Trump had warned that the United States was locked and loaded to respond to the attacks, but has emphasized he does not want a war. Iran has denied being behind Saturday's attacks, which knocked out half of Saudi Arabia's oil production. The U.S. hopes that the UN Security Council takes up the attacks on Saudi Arabia's oil infrastructure, for which Washington blames Iran.
Let me say we're evaluating all the evidence. We're consulting with our allies, and the President will determine the best course of action in the days ahead. But I promise you.
Since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iranian women have been banned from men's soccer matches at football stadiums in the country, but that has done nothing to dampen their determination to enjoy it. On match days, Iran's young female soccer fans crammed Tehran's shopping centers and cafes with faces painted with the Iranian flag and beaming with excitement as they follow their national team on giant television screens alongside male fans. And India's star wrestler Vinesh Fogart qualified in the 53 kg for the 2020 Olympics after beating fancied American Sarah Hildebrand in the World Championships on Wednesday. The 25-year-old scored an impressive 8-2 win over the World Championship silver medalist. To secure her place at the Tokyo Games, Vinesh will wrestle in the bronze medal bout against Maria Prevolaraki of Greece later on Wednesday. Rishabh Pant's form would be an important subplot when India looked to seize the advantage against South Africa in the second T20 International on Wednesday after a washout in Dharamshala effectively made the series a two-match affair.
After the first T20 International ended in a washout, India would be itching to get on to the field against a new-look South Africa for their first home fixture since March 2019. In an attempt to groom new talent before next year's ICC Men's T20 World Cup, India have persisted with Rahul, Deepak Chahar, Washington Sundar and Krunal Pandya for the series against South Africa. While Hardik Pandya has made a return after being rested for the West Indies tour, regulars such as Jasprit Bumrah, Bhuvneshwar Kumar and MS Dhoni are not part of the 15-man setup. Rishabh Pant will be India's wicketkeeper batsman once again, and as pointed out by his head coach and captain, will be expected to make better decisions at the crease. India's rest spin duo of Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal have been left out to strengthen the lower order batting. It is also an important series for Shreyas Iyer and Manish Pandey, who have been brought back into the side to solidify the middle order. The game will also be an opportunity for Shikhar Dhawan to play a substantial knock, having endured a lean tour of the West Indies by his standards. South Africa will hope to start their new era with a win against strong Indian unit with Quinton de Kock in charge. The Kagiso Rabada-led attack would have to bowl really well to contain the Indian batsmen, especially skipper Kohli, who played one of his best knocks against Australia in March 2016, the last T20 played in Mohali to take India to the World T20 semi-finals. With 20-odd games to go before the World Cup, Indian team wants to boost its batting, which will require number 8, 9 and 10 to score runs on a regular basis, something which has never been India's strength. Will a deep batting lineup compromise India's ability to take wickets in the middle overs? Only time will tell. Sports Desk, DD News.
And that's all we have for you in this edition of the news. News and updates continue on DD News and DD India. Stay tuned. Namaskar.
Indian scientists have discovered a new species of legless amphibians in the northeastern jungles of India. An amphibian is a living organism that can live both on land and in water. The discovery was made jointly by an Indo-European research team comprising scientists from Delhi University, London's Natural History Museum and Vrije University, Brussels. About 350 species of amphibians are found in India, and among them caecilians resembling earthworm, lizard-like, salamanders and frogs are the most common. Belonging to the family of caecilians, the new organism is named Cichlidae in Garo language. These organisms are found in damp land of northeastern India. Caecilians are closely related to another species of amphibians found in Africa, which shows that this species evolved much before Indian subcontinent separated from the African landmass. Researchers say that this organism faces danger from local population who kill it, often mistaking it for a venomous snake. Whereas Cichlidae is neither venomous nor does it pose any danger to humans. Dr. Biju has said in his research that northeastern India's forest life has a rich ecosystem, but it still requires more research.
There's nothing as full of potential as a newborn child, futures yet to unfold. Yet for so many Indian children, especially those from low-income homes, this is the time that proves most perilous. They must dodge an army of bacterial and viral infections. They must fight off diseases that seem routine for most adults, but can be fatal for them, diseases like diarrhea. But while many children succumb to diarrhea, there are some whose immune systems fend off the attack and in fact develop powers to resist them all lifelong. Can this natural immunity found in some be harnessed to save all? That's a question of science. For developing nations like India, there's nothing more dire than the problem of infant mortality. Too many children fall prey to diseases that are simple enough to cure. One such disease is diarrhea that claims 2 to 3 lakh infants every year. Diarrhea is a debilitating condition that causes severe gastroenteritis and dehydration. Its most common cause, the rotavirus. Rotavirus is an extremely contagious virus that's found commonly in our environment. It spreads through fecal matter or through food and water. Once it enters the body, it attacks the cells of the small intestines, leading to acute gastric problems. If treated properly and immediately, it not only resolves but also ensures that the body is immune to it for the remainder of its lives. You could well ask, if children can be immunized against diseases like polio, measles and smallpox, why can't there be similar preventions for rotavirus diarrhea? The answer is, there can be. This may look like a normal clinic with young parents bringing their infants for routine checkups. But there's nothing routine about these proceedings. Because this is one of the sites for an exciting drug trial that could save lakhs of Indian children with a single dose. Each child here is contributing to bringing India closer to having its very first completely indigenous rotavirus vaccine, also known as the Rotovac. The Rotovac has taken over 2 decades to reach this phase, and it all began with a pediatrician going about his daily job at the AIIMS, or the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. In the 1980s, Dr. M.K. Bhan was an associate professor at AIIMS. It was here, while treating the stream of babies that passed through the hospital, that he made a startling observation.
I was actually testing a diagnostic kit for rotavirus. And so I went to the nursery and I took stools of all the babies. When we ran this test, we call it a ELISA test, when we ran it in these stools, we were quite surprised to find that almost all the babies were positive. They were all getting infected with an unusual type of rotavirus, but they were not getting sick. So it created a curiosity in us whether this virus strain is changed or altered in its gene structure or function in such a way that it doesn't cause disease, but it causes infection, and therefore it will cause protection. So is it a natural vaccine?
This led to the next logical question. If we could study the root cause of this immunity, could we use it to immunize other babies as well? In other words, had Dr. Bhan stumbled upon a natural vaccine? Dr. Bhan's finding was an echo of another doctor's. This doctor had lived half a world away and over 3 centuries in the past. In the 1760s, Dr. Edward Jenner of England made an observation. He noticed that farmers who reared cattle seldom succumbed to the dreaded smallpox. On further inquiry, he learned that most of them had suffered a milder form of the disease in their childhood called cowpox. Childhood cowpox had somehow rendered them immune to smallpox. Dr. Jenner went one step further. In 1796, he inoculated an 8-year-old boy with cowpox. 6 weeks later, he exposed the boy to smallpox. To his joy, the child had developed an immunity. How had this occurred? The child's body had definitely been infected with cowpox virus, which was similar to but less harmful than smallpox. The infection was enough to trigger the body's immune response. Immediately, it began producing antibodies to combat the virus. So, by the time Dr. Jenner exposed the child to smallpox 6 weeks later, his body had developed brand new weapons to fight it off. Thus, the world was given a new vaccine, or a biological formula that used a small amount of disease-causing agent to build the body's defenses against the disease itself. Back at AIIMS, Dr. Bhan had made Jenner-like observations with rotavirus, and he wondered what was the next logical step. Where would the chance finding lead?
With most chance findings, the important thing is whether you follow them or not. And in this case, we were lucky that we actually decided to follow it up, and our curiosity got the better of our lethargy.
Dr. Bhan was not the only scientist who was looking to crack the formula for a rotavirus vaccine, or Rotovac. The American Dr. Roger Glass had been studying similar strains of rotavirus across 4 continents. One was a doctor from a country that had never made a vaccine from scratch. The other hailed from a nation that had the expertise to do exactly that. Both sought to defeat the same disease, rotavirus diarrhea. Fortunately for them, it was around this time that India and the US of A jointly launched the Indo-US Vaccine Action Program, or VAP. A determined effort spearheaded by the Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, and the National Institutes of Health in the US.
Especially the below 5-year-old children, where we need to vaccinate them some 6 or 7 vaccine preventable diseases. So that was idea in 1987-88 under Indo-US collaborative projects by involving a leading Indian and US scientists to develop the new and improved vaccines. So basic idea was to really produce a vaccine with affordable cost for Indian context into that.
With the backing of not one but 2 government agencies, it was time to unravel the mysteries of the unknown rotavirus strain that was discovered at AIIMS. So far, scientists knew of only 5 to 6 major strains or types of rotavirus, of which strain A was the most commonly understood. The AIIMS strain would have to be sent to virology experts abroad for further studies. Extensive genetic studies were carried out at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, in America. Here they made yet another amazing discovery. At the molecular level, the strain had a strange mutation. Besides carrying human proteins in its genes, it had one genetic segment that seemed to be derived from bovine. In other words, cattle like cows and buffaloes. It was this bovine mutation that, much like Dr. Edward Jenner's cowpox virus, seemed to give humans the power to resist disease.
This virus, which we call 116E, had one gene of animal origin, bovine origin, and 10 genes of human rotavirus origin. And it was our impression that this one gene of animal origin is the reason why babies don't get infected with this. This is how genetic evolution of viruses occurs. But it can also happen in the human gut. Imagine a child who is infected with 2 different viruses. So they co-cultivate and transfer genes to each other, and then when that child sheds the virus in the stool, a new virus is born.
The Ames strain of rotavirus was renamed 116E, and back home in India, further studies were carried out to study how it behaved. All these studies made one thing eminently clear. Neither the rotavirus nor its disease were the same across the world. For example, India had a far more diverse collection of rotavirus strains than in any other part of the world. While the disease was seasonal in Europe and the US, for India it was year-round. Most significantly, while nearly 2 lakh children die of rotavirus diarrhea every year, less than 10 die in the United States. In these circumstances, could India rely on research done in the West alone? Wasn't it critically important to start a specific vaccine development program targeted towards India?
Like any other organisms, like microorganism, there will be some specific to Indian context. Rota, this neonatal diarrheal strain isolated by Dr. Ban, we consider it specific to Indian children. That's the reason why I say India-specific rotavirus vaccine. That's why we gave the name of 116E. And from there we started characterization of the strain and working on that, adoption to the vero cells. All this process is gone through in a very detailed manner for 10-15 years into that.
The Indo-US Vaccine Action Program supported research on 116E throughout the early 1990s. But they weren't the only ones on the chase for the Rotovac. Dr. Durga Rao of Bangalore and Dr. Harry Greenberg of Stanford University, USA, had been working on another strain of rotavirus called I321. Like the 116E strain, it had a mix of human and bovine genetic segments. And just like 116E, it showed promise of being a natural vaccine against rotavirus diarrhea. But there was one fundamental difference.
They had a strain which was essentially an animal rotavirus, but there was one human gene in it. We had a strain which was essentially human, but had one animal gene. So the question was, which one would give the best balance between safety and efficacy?
There was only one way to answer this question: put both candidates through rigorous tests. For that, India would have to produce the vaccines first.
Then 98, 99, we invited the public sector company or private sector company like Cadila, and Bharat Biotech has showed interest into that. Team was created and we visited those sites. Finally, we selected Bharat Biotech because Dr. Ella Krishna was very keen to develop this vaccine along with our entire group. He also thought this consortia, this group is excellent in the international level of scientific merit.
BBIL may never have made a vaccine from scratch before, but what it lacked in experience, it made up for in passion to succeed. It opened its doors to American experts from the CDC. The CDC had already helped in genetic and virology studies of 116E and I321. Now it stepped up to help the Indian biotech company set up state-of-the-art systems to manufacture vaccines.
I had a passion. Only one thing is that India never developed a new vaccine. I thought it's a time that, being a new generation entrepreneurs, that we should develop some new vaccines and India should stand on its feet. Like making a cell bank was challenging. We don't have any US FDA approved cell line in this country. And we were the first one to develop US FDA approved thanks to international collaboration.
As pilot batches of vaccine candidates emerged from manufacturing plants on both sides of the Atlantic, it was time to start testing them. And so, phase 1 began in the early 1990s with testing the vaccine not on babies but on adults.
Adults are given the vaccine, some are given the vaccine, some are not.
and you look at what events in terms of, let us say, fever or diarrhea or vomiting, skin rash, things like that did they have. So we did a study in adults, then we did it in 2 to 12-year-old children, and then we came to the target age group, which was infants.
The question now loomed, which strain would emerge stronger, 116E or I321? With each test, the answer became clearer. It was 116E that showed a better immune response. The Rotovac brought together diverse research teams from different institutes across India and the US. And it partnered government funding agencies with global funding ones like PATH and the Gates Foundation. They all had a singular motivation: social innovation.
To solve big problems of this world, you need team science, and you need innovation through large communities of institutions and people. Now, how do you make that real? Our natural urge is to compete. How do you substitute competition by cooperation? This is a great 21st century challenge.
Through the 2000s, the Rotovac went through a series of development stages, each stage accompanied by stringent tests. After judging the vaccine to be safe, it entered the next phase.
In the phase 3, there were 3 sites, and at each site there were a minimum of 150 staff. So when you have a team of 500 people and you want to, at different categories, everybody needs to follow the same methods. You need to standardize people. There are periodic trainings, retrainings, monitoring, audits. So that's the challenge.
March 2011, after over 2 decades of R&D, the Rotovac was ready to enter the most critical phase in its march towards completion. Phase 3 of the clinical trials, where it would be tested on babies to see how safe and efficient it was. It was a first for India, which had never before tested a vaccine manufactured in the country.
We're going to look at groups of children who would receive the Rotovac and the other group of children who would not receive the Rotovac. And then when we look at it at the end of the study, we hope to see that the children who have received the Rotovac would have lesser severe rotavirus gastroenteritis.
Nothing on this scale or standard had ever been attempted in India for a brand new vaccine. The tests would not only have to adhere to Indian regulations, but would also have to live up to the global and gold standards set by the US Food and Drug Administration, or FDA. The trials involved 3 sites across India: Delhi, Pune and Vellore. Approximately 6,800 babies were selected as subjects and given 3 doses at the ages of 6 to 7 weeks, 10 weeks and 14 weeks. The subjects were closely monitored and followed up on for 2 years.
We have this huge, like an army of team and every team has different responsibilities, and so to get all of them together and ensure that all of them are in sync with each other, and also to ensure that everybody understands they are a piece of a bigger team, not, that they cannot do things by themselves. That is what needs to be created.
The process: selected babies come in. Their families are taken into private enclosures and asked for informed consent. There is a thorough medical checkup of the baby. They are given a special ID number. From now on, this and not their name, family or house number will be their identifier.
We want to be very sure that we are looking at the efficacy that we're seeing is collected in a way that is not biased. By that I mean, if I know that a child has received Rotovac, I may tend to look at that, pay more attention to that baby and not pay more attention to the baby who has received the placebo.
Then they are ready for the rotovac. But not every child receives the same vaccine. These are double-blind, placebo-controlled tests. It means that if 2 babies receive the 116E rotovac, one baby receives